Chapter 702. Nirvana consumed a large amount of spiritual power, and the outer layer of the golden core was almost exhausted. Fortunately, the core inside was not consumed, as it was formed from the fusion of qi and blood. If the core was consumed, the cultivation realm would drop, and the strength of the body would also be affected. Even so, Wang Daoyuan felt a burst of emptiness. After experiencing nirvana, the impurities in the body were all removed. The pill toxins from taking pills for many years were also swept away. However, the spiritual power in the body was almost exhausted, and there was a feeling of emptiness, as if the body was hollowed out. He took out a few spiritual fruits from the space of the spirit pearl and ate them. He even drank a jar of 200-year-old spirit peach dew, and only then did he feel a bit better. Daoist Thunderflame and Daoist Windwing walked in from outside, sizing up Wang Daoyuan. Daoist Windwing smiled, "This body is really not bad. How come you only gave birth to a child after so many years?" Daoist Thunderflame followed up, "You have the nerve to ask this. Isn't it because your Zhou family is too fierce, and my disciple doesn't dare to take concubines? Otherwise, with Daoyuan's body, he would have 180 children." Wang Daoyuan took out a set of clothes from the space of the spirit pearl and put it on. "You two are over 1,000 years old, and you have the nerve to talk to me about this?" "Oh right, master, that bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade flew out. How is it now?" Daoist Thunderflame took out the purple gold exquisite pagoda, pointing at the pagoda and smiling, "This time, master is basking in your light. This bloodthirsty soul-rending blade is a special magic tool. It was also refined by the Yuanying blood demon, and can be considered a rank 5 magic tool. I used the purple gold exquisite pagoda to suppress it, and now it has been absorbed into the pagoda to be refined. If it can be completely refined, the exquisite pagoda can also borrow its power to rise to rank 5. This bloodthirsty soul-rending blade should have been yours, but now the situation is urgent, so I can only use it first." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "The great cause of fighting demons is still the most important. If the purple gold exquisite pagoda can be restored, our overall strength should be able to suppress the demons. What I cultivate is not the blood demon technique, so it is useless for me to have the bloodthirsty soul-rending blade." Daoist Windwing stared at Wang Daoyuan's hair and asked, "Daoyuan, is your family's ancestor related to my Zhou family? After using the Nirvana secret technique, the vermilion bird bloodline in your body was awakened, and red hair grew on your head. After Nirvana, his hair had been burnt to ashes. Now, only a little stubble of hair had grown out, so he hadn't noticed it. Using his divine sense, he found that there were indeed more than 10 strands of fiery red hair diagonally above his right ear." Before Wang Daoyuan could reply, Lei Yan Jinren interrupted, "The ancestors of the Wang family have always lived in Guangyuan County of the state of Zhao. Originally, the Zhou family's small branches were all in the western part of the state of Zhao. Don't flatter yourself. When has your Zhou clan ever produced someone with the vermilion bird bloodline? Even though the 5-colored phoenix was the empress of the phoenix tribe, its battle prowess was still no match for the vermilion bird. The human race's bloodline was special. Unlike the demonic beasts, those with the bloodline of divine beasts would have the chance to transform into divine beasts. Since he was unable to transform into a god beast, it did not make much of a difference whether he possessed the bloodline of a god beast or not. At most, it would increase his battle prowess by a little. Daoyuan doesn't lack this." The two were old enemies. Previously, Daoist Windwing had always used his seniority to suppress Daoist Lei Yan. Now, because Wang Daoyuan had married Zhou Wan, the two's seniority was even. Daoist Lei Yan seized the opportunity to mock and ridicule. Daoist Windwing was older and naturally would not give in. The two began to expose each other's shortcomings. Wang Daoyuan asked, "How were the casualties in this battle?" The two had been happy because Wang Daoyuan had recovered. Now that Wang Daoyuan asked this question, the joy on their faces receded. Daoist Lei Yan sighed. The half-step Yuanying cultivators faced the Yuanying demons head-on. Other than old devil Windwing, everyone was injured. Daoist Master Han Shuang faced the ice demon head-on and was injured the most. Now, she can't even use half of her battle prowess. She's not young anymore. It won't be easy for her to recover. The peak golden core cultivators were fine. They didn't face the Yuanying demons head-on, so they weren't seriously injured. The late golden core cultivators suffered the most casualties. There were more than 120 late golden core cultivators. More than 20 died, more than 30 were seriously injured, and the rest had light injuries. When the battle was in our favor, these people left the flying warship and surrounded the golden core cultivators. When the ice demon escaped, he used a spell to cover their retreat. They didn't have time to escape and were affected. Less than half of them still had the strength to fight. The three fell into silence. After a while, Wang Daoyuan said, "Now that I've recovered, I just need to recover some spirit energy to heal them. They should be able to recover their battle prowess quickly." The haze on Daoist Lei Yan's face disappeared. "I've been so worried these days that I forgot about your Azure Dragon Pearl. We won't disturb you anymore. Quickly recover your spirit energy. When their injuries are healed, we'll go find the demons." The two walked out. Wang Daoyuan returned the 5 spirit energy seeds to his dantian. As for the Scarlet Phoenix Nirvana fire, it had already recognized a master. If it left its master again, it would affect its growth. This spirit fire had already reached the 4th level, so it didn't need to be stored in the space of the pearl. It wasn't suitable to store it in his dantian either, as it would be rejected by the 5 spirit energy seeds. He simply placed it in the vermilion bird vision on his Zifu. This way, it wouldn't reject the spirit energy seeds and could increase the power of the vermilion bird vision. After placing the spirit fire, Wang Daoyuan used the 5 spirit immortal transformation technique to recover his spirit energy. At this time, in a cave in Sky Devil Valley, 5 Yuanying demons and 5 half-step Yuanying demons were gathered together to discuss the next step. The Yuanying blood demon's expression suddenly changed. "Oh no, I lost contact with my bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade." The Yuanying bone demon sighed. "Devouring Heaven is heavily injured and won't be able to fight for a while. Blood Abyss has lost its strongest technique. 1 half-step Yuanying demon died, and now there are only 5 left. More than 10 late and peak golden core cultivators died. Now there are only 3 peak golden core cultivators alive, and all of them are heavily injured. There are still many mid and early golden core cultivators, but they would only be sending themselves to their deaths in this kind of battle. They can only defend Sky Devil Valley and use the formation to deal with the humans. Our demon race has always been led by the 10,000 Technique Demon Clan. Mo Ting, what do you think we should do?" Lei Mo thought for a while and answered, "We have suffered heavy casualties, and the humans aren't doing well either. Almost all half-step Yuanying demons are injured, and many late and peak golden core cultivators are also injured. Especially when Mo Bing used a spell to retreat, it caused many casualties. Now, the humans probably don't have much more cultivators than us who can fight. This battle can be considered a lose-lose. The humans can't attack Sky Devil Valley anymore, and we don't have the ability to break through demon-suppressing city. First, we set up a formation in Sky Devil Valley. With the 5 of us Yuanying, even if the purple gold jewel pagoda recovers to the 5th level, we can rely on the formation to deal with them. We will defend Sky Devil Valley to the death and drag it out with them. It doesn't matter even if we drag it out for decades or centuries. Sky Devil Valley is suitable for the sacred race to cultivate. If the formation that binds Absolute Heaven Abyss is not repaired for a long time, there will definitely be loopholes. At that time, the Yuanying in Absolute Heaven Abyss can come out to help. We only need 1 or 2 early Yuanying to come out, and the humans won't be able to resist." All the demons nodded in agreement. The humans had too many cultivators below Yuanying, and more than a dozen flying warships. Without an absolute advantage in terms of high-end battle strength, they couldn't afford to waste it. The heavily injured Yuanying soul-devouring demon asked, "What's the background of that kid who can transform into a dragon? I originally thought that the sect masters of the 4 great sects were already unrivaled below Yuanying. I didn't expect this kid to be even more powerful than the 4 great sect masters. Which power is this cultivator from?" Mo Ting cupped his hands and said, according to the devil cultivators who submitted to the sacred race. This person is Master Lei Yan's disciple in name, and is also a guest elder of Divine Weapon Pavilion. His own family is only a small power, and it's hundreds of thousands of miles away from here. This person has a lot of tricks up his sleeves. This dragon transformation technique should be an inheritance from the Valley of Beasts. His natal magic weapon is Master Fu Mo's inheritance. Chapter 703. Hearing this, the soul-devouring demon sighed. No wonder a peak golden core cultivator is so powerful. Turns out he's the disciple of Daoist Thunderflame and learned the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts. Daoist subduing demon is the mortal enemy of our sacred race. If we don't get rid of him, our sacred race won't be at ease. The other demons were also shocked by the name of Daoist subduing demon. Although they weren't old, they weren't even born during the chaos 10,000 years ago. But Daoist subduing demon's name was often mentioned by their elders. During the chaos 10,000 years ago, Daoist subduing demon was already a peak golden core cultivator. He once cooperated with human cultivators to inflict heavy losses on the Yuanying demons. The number of golden core demons who died under his hands was at least several hundred. Shui Yuan patted his chest and said, "I stabbed the bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade into his body and destroyed his heart. This kid is dead for sure. Even a deity transformation cultivator can't save him." Hearing this, the demons were relieved. The current demon race couldn't be compared to 10,000 years ago and couldn't withstand another Daoist subduing demon. Mo Ting ordered, "Since that's the case, let's quickly set up the formation." Daoist Thunderflame isn't injured at all. With his strength, if he sneak attacks us, I'm afraid we'll lose our Yuanying. Everyone dispersed and began to repair the defensive formation. In the demon-suppressing city, Wang Daoyuan's spiritual power had almost recovered. He also practiced the true dragon body tempering art to increase his physical strength. After a long time, Wang Daoyuan got up and walked out of the secret room to the main hall in the center of the city. Only Daoist Thunderflame and Daoist Windwing were here. Seeing Wang Daoyuan, Daoist Thunderflame asked, "How's your recovery?" Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Master, rest assured. Disciple's spiritual power and physical body have completely recovered. May I know where the injured seniors are so disciple can heal them?" Daoist Windwing continued, "Lei Yan, you stay here and keep watch. As for the matter of healing, I'll bring Dao far away." Daoist Thunderflame didn't refuse. He couldn't heal anyway and couldn't help. Daoist Master Feng Yi brought Wang Daoyuan to a small courtyard on the west side of the demon-suppressing city, where a few cultivators from the Wind Snow Divine Palace lived. With a female cultivator here, the two of them couldn't just barge in. Daoist Windwing shouted, "I've brought martial nephew Daoyuan to treat Daoist Han Shuang's injuries." Not long after, a middle-aged woman in the late gold core stage walked out of the courtyard. Bowing to Wang Daoyuan and Daoist Windwing, he said, "Greetings, Senior Windwing and Daoyu. My master is in the courtyard. Please follow me." The middle-aged woman led the two of them into the courtyard and came to the door of the main house. Before he even entered the house, he could already feel a burst of cold air. Without waiting for Wang Daoyuan to speak, an aged voice rang out from within the house, "Windwing's Daoyu, martial nephew Daoyuan, come in." When the two of them entered the house, the cold air became even more intense, and it was mixed with dense yin qi. An old woman was sitting cross-legged on the bed. It was Daoist Master Han Shuang. Daoist Master Han Shuang was not far from 900 years old. It was normal for her to age. But before, she had always looked like she was in her 30s. It was probably because she had taken the face-retaining pill. Now that the cold air of the demon race invaded her body, her vitality was excessively depleted. The face-retaining pill was merely a second-tier medicinal pill. It was also powerless to reverse the situation. Wang Daoyuan didn't directly take out the Azure Dragon Pearl. Instead, he brought the red-feathered crow out of the space of the spiritual pearl. The red-feathered crow felt the dense cold air and demon qi here. It was very uncomfortable. Its body emitted a reddish gold light. The cold air and demon qi in the house suddenly dissipated. Under the light, Daoist Master Han Shuang's face also revealed a hint of relief. Wang Daoyuan drew out a wisp of reddish gold flame from the red-feathered crow's body. Martial Uncle Han Shuang, you can borrow the spiritual fire of the golden crow's bloodline to get rid of the demon qi left by the ice demon. After the demon qi is completely removed, disciple will use the azure dragon pearl to heal you. Daoist Master Han Shuang nodded. Thank you, martial nephew Daoyuan. Leaving the red-feathered crow in the house, Wang Daoyuan and Daoist Master Feng Yi came to the courtyard. The middle-aged female cultivator from before brought tea. After an hour, demon qi and cold air were constantly emitted from the house. The courtyard was a little cold. The ground at the door began to frost. After a while, another burst of hot air gushed out, dispelling the cold air. After another hour, Daoist Master Han Shuang's voice came out from the house. Martial nephew Daoyuan, the demon qi in my body has been completely removed. Wang Daoyuan walked into the house, put away the red-feathered crow, and took out the azure dragon pearl. A green dragon's shadow flew out, spitting out a green light from its mouth, shining on Daoist Master Han Shuang. The green light contained a strong vitality. Soon, Daoist Master Han Shuang's face began to turn red, and her appearance gradually became younger. In less than half a cup of tea's time, her appearance returned to its previous appearance, but her face was still a little pale. Daoist Master Han Shuang waved her hand and said, I've almost recovered. There are still many injured Daoyu. Go treat them. Wang Daoyuan didn't refuse. After a few words with her, he left with Daoist Master Feng Yi. In order to ensure the humans' battle strength, Wang Daoyuan first treated the half-step Yuanian cultivators. The other half-step Yuanian cultivators weren't seriously injured. Only the 3 half-step Yuanian cultivators who were dealing with the ice demon had some demonic qi invading their bodies. The others only suffered superficial wounds. After absorbing some vitality, they more or less recovered. Many late-stage Aurus Core cultivators were seriously injured. The spell that the ice demon cast before retreating injured many late-stage Aurus Core cultivators. These people's situation was similar to Daoist Master Han Shuang's, but their injuries were much lighter. A month later, the half-step Yuanian and peak Aurus Core cultivators on the human side had all recovered. More than half of the late-stage Aurus Core cultivators had also recovered. The manpower that could be mobilized now had a slight advantage over the demons. However, the Yuanian cultivators were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Relying on half-step Yuanian cultivators to deal with Yuanian cultivators was like dancing on a knife's edge. The slightest mishap would result in heavy casualties. There was no need to take this risk. The demons didn't dare to rashly leave Heavenly Devil Valley. The humans also didn't dare to rashly attack Heavenly Devil Valley. The demons guarded Heavenly Devil Valley to the death, waiting for problems to arise with the decimating Heaven Abyss formation. The humans guarded Heavenly Devil Valley, waiting for the Violet Gold Jewel Pagoda to recover to the 5th level. After the savage beasts were massacred, their numbers sharply decreased. They couldn't cause much trouble. With the humans and demons in a standoff, the demonic cultivators didn't dare to show themselves. The entire southern wasteland fell into a strange silence. Daoist Master 10,000 Corpses didn't care about this at all. He still sent out his refined corpses as usual to capture savage beasts and increase the number of refined corpses under his command. After this silence lasted for 2 years, a powerful pressure suddenly appeared in Heavenly Devil Valley. Then, a purple thunderbolt fell from the sky, striking the main hall in the center of the city. After the thunderbolt fell, there was no more movement. The main hall in the center of the city was where Master Lei Yan was. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly ran over to check the situation. Before entering the main hall, he heard Master Lei Yan's laughter. Walking into the main hall, he saw Master Lei Yan holding the Violet Gold Jewel Pagoda, stroking his beard and laughing. At this time, the Jewel Pagoda was emitting a pressure comparable to that of a Yuanian cultivator. It was obviously a 5th-level magic tool. Wang Daoyuan's face was full of joy. Congratulations, Master, the Jewel Pagoda has finally recovered to the 5th level. Before Master Lei Yan could speak, he heard a child's voice. Junior Lei Yan, is this your disciple? Why isn't he cultivating our treasured cauldron sex cultivation method? The aura on his body is also very chaotic. Master Lei Yan respectfully replied, in reply to Ancestor Linglong, this is indeed my in-name disciple. His name is Wang Daoyuan. The cultivation method he cultivated was obtained by himself. It is very suitable for him, so I didn't ask him to change his cultivation method. Dao Yuan's talent in refining is very good. In the future, he will be able to bring our treasured cauldron sex refining method to greater heights. My personal disciple is his younger brother, and he cultivates our sex cultivation method. On the top of the jewel pagoda, a naked child wearing a red dudu appeared. He was only 3 inches tall, and there were 2 sky spikes on his head. Chapter 704. Ancestor Linglong jumped from the top of the Linglong pagoda to Wang Daoyuan's head and knocked on his forehead with her small hand. She then stood up and clasped her hands behind her back, acting like an old man. This junior is not bad. Your body is strong enough to not embarrass our lineage. Junior, I can sense the aura of 6 types of spiritual fire in your body. Let me see what kind of spiritual fire they are. Wang Daoyuan had already exposed 5 of the 6 spiritual fires. Only the dust-returning flame had not been exposed. After all, it was not used much in battle, but its corrosive ability was too powerful. It was very valuable for digging holes and opening secret passages. It would be easy to be targeted if he took it out. Besides him and Zhou Wan, no one else knew about the dust-returning flame. However, there was only his master and the weapon spirit here, so it was not a big deal. He drew out a wisp of the 5 elemental spiritual fire and the scarlet phoenix nirvana flame for Ancestor Linglong to check. Ancestor Linglong opened her mouth and swallowed the 6 rootless flames, then smacked her lips and tasted them carefully. She then said, there is a special taste in your spiritual fire. It is much better than Junior Lei Yan's purple thunder divine flame. Junior Lei Yan, when you die, pass the Linglong pagoda to Dao Yuan. I still like to eat his spiritual fire. Junior Daoyuan, give me some more. Wang Daoyuan sighed inwardly. She doesn't look like an ancestor at all. With her appearance and her gluttony, she is clearly a child of 2 or 3 years old. He drew out some more spiritual fire and gave it to Linglong. She ate for half an hour before patting her belly and lying on Wang Daoyuan's head. During this time, Daoist Cloud Crane and the others also came to check. However, before they entered the main hall, they sensed Ancestor Linglong's aura. Knowing that the weapon spirit had awakened, they did not dare to disturb and left happily. With Daoist Cloud Crane's strength, he could suppress the strongest demon, Lei Mo, without the Linglong pagoda. Now that the weapon spirit of the Linglong pagoda had awakened, it used to be a 7th grade magic weapon. Even though he was only at the lower 5th grade, the strength he could unleash was not something an ordinary Yuanian cultivator could compare to. After eating her fill, Ancestor Linglong lazily said to Thunderflame Daoist, Junior Thunderflame, why don't you pass my true body to Dao Yuan right now? His spiritual fire is too delicious. I'll stay here with him from now on. Daoist Thunderflame also had a helpless look. Daoyuan, why don't you help Master nurture it for a period of time first? Wang Daoyuan didn't want to agree. With an old monster that had lived for tens of thousands of years living in his body, what secrets could he have? The matter of the spiritual pearl space was probably going to be discovered by this guy. The most important thing was that he couldn't offend this little ancestor. He was still counting on him to help deal with the demon race. Seeing the awkward look on Zhang Xian's face, before Lei Yan could say anything, Exquisite spoke up in displeasure, what's wrong? Looking down on the ancestor? I was nurtured by your first-generation ancestor, and it has been more than 100,000 years since then. I didn't live for 100,000 years in vain. Just a few words of advice from me would be enough for you to enjoy boundless benefits. Wang Daoyuan took out the meteoric flame-controlling gourd. Who doesn't have any secrets as an immortal cultivator? Now that you're here, I'm afraid I don't have any secrets left. How about this? I'll store the spiritual fire in the gourd. As long as you pour in spiritual energy, it will continue to produce rootless fire, and you'll have something to eat. Only after Lei Yan helped persuade her did Ancestor Linglong relent. Forget it. No matter what, you're still my junior. I won't make things difficult for you. This gourd can increase your strength. If you want to deal with the demon race, you can't do without it. When you have time, just give me more spiritual fire. I've just awakened, and haven't recovered much of my strength. Give me a few months first. In these few months, Daoyuan, give me more spiritual fire to eat. Wang Daoyuan naturally didn't have any objections. Rootless fire was no different from ordinary spiritual energy to him. For the next half a year, Wang Daoyuan's mission was to provide food for Ancestor Linglong. Linglong also understood the principle of being soft-spoken. If Wang Daoyuan didn't understand anything about cultivation, she patiently explained it to him. Especially in the area of minor divine abilities, she gave Wang Daoyuan a lot of pointers. Linglong's growth was extremely fast, and the fluctuations of law on her body were not inferior to Lei Yan's. Lei Yan had divine abilities, and his fluctuations of law were far superior to that of ordinary Yuanian cultivators. After such a long time, the injured cultivators had long since recovered. However, the same couldn't be said for the demon race. Blood demons could absorb the essence blood of vicious beasts to quickly recover, but soul-devouring demons didn't have this ability. Even though the demon race had many healing methods, they lacked the resources to do so. The demon race wasn't a life form of this world. Ordinary healing spirit medicines weren't of much use to them. Last time, she was burned by the purple gold thunder flame, and then whipped by Wang Daoyuan's dragon tail. It would take at least a few years for her to recover. Now was the best time for the humans to strike. Lei Yan also summoned the 4 sect masters to discuss the matter of attacking Sky Devil Valley. After the 4 arrived, Cloud Crane asked, "Senior brother Lei Yan, to what extent has Ancestor Linglong recovered?" Lei Yan stroked his beard and smiled. "Even without anyone controlling her, Ancestor Linglong's strength is no less than mine. If I control the purple gold pagoda, I should be able to deal with 4 Yuanian demons at once." Hearing this, everyone's face lit up with joy. The demon race had caused such a huge ruckus that the humans were in great danger. Who would have thought that they would be stronger than the demon race now? Lei Yan alone could deal with 4 demons, so what was a half-crippled soul-devouring demon? More than a dozen half-step Yuanian cultivators and 6 legendary magic artifacts were taking turns to fight. Many of them had nothing better to do. After discussing the battle strategy, half of the late-stage Golden Core cultivators stayed behind to guard the base, while the rest boarded the flying warship and headed for Sky Devil Valley. Outside Sky Devil Valley, Lei Yan said, "Daoyuan, it's time for you to shine again." The sect masters of the 4 great sects also looked at him. Wang Daoyuan was a little confused. "What do you mean? I don't often bicker with others." Cloud Crane smiled. "Capable people are always busy." Martial nephew Daoyuan, for the sake of the human race, Wang Daoyuan hurriedly waved his hand. "Forget it, I'll just go and scold them." Lei Yan handed the purple gold pagoda to him. "Take the pagoda with you. Even if the Yuanian demons ambush you, it'll keep you safe." Wang Daoyuan put away the pagoda and left the flying warship, flying 300 miles to the north of Sky Devil Valley. He shouted into Sky Devil Valley, "You cowards of the demon race, listen up. I want a mount. If you give me a Yuanian demon, I'll let you go. I'll say this first, the soul-devouring demon won't do. It's skinny and small. It's embarrassing to ride it. Bone demon and blood demon are good. They look very impressive. Ice demon would be even better. Not only can it be a mount, but it can also warm the bed. I just don't know if it can warm the bed." As soon as he said this, the human cultivators burst into laughter. The cultivators of Wind Snow Deity Palace were a little embarrassed. Ling Long rolled around in the pagoda laughing. As expected of the descendants of the treasured cauldron bloodline. "You have the demeanor of your first ancestor. When Wang Daoyuan scolded, he also used some of the tiger roar soul-subduing technique. Everyone within a few thousand miles could hear him clearly. In a cave in Sky Devil Valley, the demons were furious. Ice Demon was so angry that her face was red. The soul-devouring demon cursed in his heart, but he didn't dare to speak. He was already embarrassed when he was sent flying by a tail. Bone Demon scolded, "Blood Abyss, didn't you say that he's dead for sure and that even soul formation cultivators can't save him? How could this brat still be alive and kicking? Is the bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade of your blood demon bloodline trash?" Blood Abyss slammed the table and stood up. "I'll kill him." Mo Ting said, "Don't be rash. The humans didn't have the upper hand when they fought with us. Now that they dare to come here, they must be confident. Maybe the purple gold pagoda has recovered to the 5th level. Even if the 5 of us attack together, we still won't be able to take him down. Those half-step Yuaniing demons are not to be trifled with." Chapter 705. Blood Abyss sat down indignantly. The divine race is actually blocked by the humans and doesn't dare to show their faces. How cowardly. Since Mo Ting had spoken, the other demons didn't dare to say anything. They stayed in Sky Devil Valley obediently and didn't show their faces. Wang Daoyuan waited for a long time, but the demons didn't reply. Exquisite began to kick up a fuss. "Junior Daoyuan, your scolding is useless. Think of something more ruthless." "How more ruthless?" "I took the risk of being strangled to death by my Dao partner when I returned home to tease Ice Demon. The demons are cowards. What can I do?" Exquisite smiled. "Young people are unreliable. Now you need to use my profound knowledge, right? The ancestors of these demons are heavenly demons. The heavenly demons gave birth to 9 children. They are the ancestors of the 9 great lineages of the demons. The demons value the heavenly demons very much. As long as someone is disrespectful to the heavenly demons, it's equivalent to digging up the demon's ancestral grave." Wang Daoyuan smiled sinisterly. "Understood." Then he cleared his throat and shouted, "I heard that the ancestors of the demons are heavenly demons. Killing perfected immortals is as easy as pie. They traverse many worlds and are invincible. Now it seems that you demons are flattering yourselves. How can the descendants of heavenly demons be cowards? I think the ancestors of the demons are turtles, right? They hide in their shells and don't dare to show their faces at the slightest sign of trouble." Before he finished speaking, several angry roars came from Sky Devil Valley. "Shut up. You're courting death." Ling Long had a smug look on her face. "Now you know how powerful I am, right? Having an elder at home is like having a treasure. It's your fortune that I'm willing to follow you. Aren't you happy?" A few of the demons spoke up, but they were still hiding like turtles. Wang Daoyuan was about to continue provoking them when a shout came. "Ignorant brat, watch your grandpa Blood Abyss kill you." Before he could finish his sentence, a nascent soul stage demon with a height of more than 10 meters flew out of the heavenly Devil Valley. Without any hesitation, Wang Daoyuan transformed into a long sword and fled to the north. This was the heaven-splitting sword escape that he had obtained from the Tai sword sect. Its speed was not inferior to the Golden Rock Imperial Sky technique. How could Shui Yuan be willing to let him go? He followed closely behind. Ling Long sent a voice transmission and said with a smile, "Did you see that? This move definitely works. Lure this guy to the north and I'll find a chance to take him down." Wang Daoyuan's speed was enough to deal with the half-step Yuaniing demons. Naturally, it was not enough to deal with Shui Yuan, who was a Yuaniing. After merely 2 breaths of time, Shui Yuan caught up. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and unleashed a beam of blood-red light. The purple gold exquisite pagoda flew out from Wang Daoyuan's sleeve and grew to a height of over 300 meters. The exquisite pagoda's power was extremely strong. Shui Yuan's anger was instantly suppressed. He turned into a bloody light and fled towards the heavenly Devil Valley. Wang Daoyuan anxiously said, "Ancestor Ling Long, quickly chase after him. Otherwise, he will escape back to the Heavenly Devil Valley. Ling Long disdainfully said, he's still too young to escape from me. If you can't catch him, I won't call you Junior anymore. I'll call you Big Brother. After saying that, the purple gold exquisite pagoda suppressed Shui Yuan. The suppressive power of this magic tool was extremely strong. Shui Yuan's escape technique was instantly broken. Even with all his strength, he still could not escape the range of the suppressive power. Just as he was about to be suppressed by the purple gold exquisite pagoda, for escape lights flew out from the Heavenly Devil Valley. They were the other 4 Yuanying demons. The 4 demons simultaneously took out their natal magic tools and attacked the purple gold exquisite pagoda. At this time, Lei Yanjinren also arrived and blocked the 4 demons. The attacks of the purple gold exquisite pagoda and Lei Yanjinren were forcibly blocked by the 4 demons. Shui Yuan took the opportunity to escape the range of the suppressive power. Subsequently, the 5 Yuanying demons did not continue fighting and turned back to the Heavenly Devil Valley. Lei Yanjinren and the exquisite pagoda could not gain any advantage against the 5 demons. If they wanted to leave, Lei Yanjinren could not stop them. After all, half-step Yuanying demons were not Yuanying demons. Their speed was much slower. When the 5 demons returned to the Heavenly Devil Valley, Immortal Yunhe and the other half-step Yuanying cultivators arrived. The demons took advantage of the time difference and successfully escaped. Everyone felt a little regretful that they could not stop the Yuanying demons. Wang Daoyuan smiled at the exquisite pagoda. Junior brother exquisite, are you going to fulfill your promise? Lei Yanjinren hurriedly said, Ancestor exquisite was just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. Exquisite came out of the pagoda. A man keeps his word. From now on, Wang Daoyuan is my big brother. Junior Lei Yan, you can continue to call me Ancestor. I'll call you Big Brother Daoyuan. Lei Yanjinren's expression was very complicated. This seniority was a little messy. The other half-step Yuanying cultivators tried their best to hold back their laughter. Lei Yanjinren hurriedly changed the topic. The demons showed their heads and were scared back. It's probably impossible to lure them out now. Let's get ready. We're going to attack the formation. With that, he controlled the exquisite pagoda and smashed it towards the Heavenly Devil Valley's formation. The formation's defensive light barrier flickered a few times, but it was still stable. It was very difficult to break the formation with brute force. Moreover, there were Yuanying demons guarding it. The humans did not have the strength to crush the demons. It was not easy to break the formation. Lei Yanjinren sighed. Brute force won't work. Xiantian Daoyu, your archaic arcanum sect is the best in Beiyuan in terms of formations. It's up to Daoyu to break the formation. Xiantian Daoist took out the yin-yang compass and injected spiritual energy into it. Countless white lights flew out of the compass. Then, the lights merged into the Heavenly Devil Valley's defensive formation. This formation was not ownerless and would not allow him to inspect it. Soon, the defensive light barrier flickered violently and the white lights were repelled. Xiantian Daoist sucked in a breath of cold air. The demons are quite clever. They know how to deal with the yin-yang compass. Ordinary methods won't work. I need a few sword cultivators to take turns attacking the defensive light barrier and assist me in inspecting the formation. Daoist Cloudsword and the other 2 half-step Yuanying cultivators came forward and each cast a spell they were good at. Daoist Cloudsword brandished the Tai sword in his hand. Countless sword chi flew out and formed a giant sword shadow more than 100 feet long in the air. Wang Daoyuan examined the giant sword shadow. Although the method of attack was different from the heaven-cleaving sword, the meaning was very similar to the heaven-cleaving sword. The giant sword's shadow slashed on the defensive light barrier, but the barrier only rippled slightly. The yin-yang compass in Xiantian Daoist's hand flickered with black light that covered hundreds of miles. The entire Heavenly Devil Valley was shrouded by this black light. After attacking with all his strength several times, Daoist Cloudsword was somewhat exhausted. Xiantian Daoist said, "Don't stop. continue attacking the formation. Wang Daoyuan came forward. If the demons come out, Martial Uncle Cloudsword will have to deal with the Yuanying demons. Let us peak Golden Core cultivators handle the scouting of the formation. Xiantian Daoist nodded. Peak Golden Core cultivators can do it as well. But you have to create ripples on the defensive light barrier. Otherwise, it will be useless. Wang Daoyuan used the heaven-cleaving sword empty-handed. After obtaining the golden book from the origin returning sword sect, the heaven-cleaving sword had been perfected. The spell was powerful enough, but the casting speed was too slow. It wasn't very useful in a battle between Golden Core cultivators, so he didn't use it much. But now, it was very suitable to attack the formation. He held the sword with both hands and condensed a giant sword shadow more than 100 feet long. He waved his hand and the giant sword shadow flew out and slashed on the defensive light barrier. A slight ripple appeared on the defensive light barrier. Daoist Cloudsword nodded. Martial Nephew Daoyuan's sword is powerful enough to threaten a half-step Yuanying cultivator. Ling Long looked disdainful. The heaven-cleaving sword was very famous in ancient times. It's really embarrassing that you can only display such little power in your hands. Upon hearing this, Wang Daoyuan's interest was piqued. Little brother Ling Long, how can I make the heaven-cleaving sword stronger? Ling Long answered, the heavens are supreme, but this move is called heaven-cleaving. It's clearly showing the courage to look down on the heavens. Your sword doesn't have this intention at all. Sword cultivators focus on sword intent. Your understanding of sword intent is still too shallow, so you can't display much power. Chapter 706. Ling Long made it sound easy. It was normal for ordinary people to have the courage to look down on the heavens. But Wang Daoyuan was a person who had been struck by lightning countless times. How could he have the courage to look down on the heavens? Moreover, he had always bullied the weak and feared the strong. With his current strength, he was not worth mentioning in front of the heavens. He was not strong enough to bully the weak. Besides, he was the weapon spirit of the spiritual bead, which was also born from the will of this world. The heavens were his father. Why would he go against his father for no reason? The heaven-slaying sword had obvious flaws. There was no need to waste time cultivating it. While Ling Long was by his side, he could ask her to give him some advice on sword intent. He had tried to use the White Tiger sword intent and the offensive sword intent to fuse the embryonic form of the Guiyuan sword intent, but he did not succeed. It was probably because his understanding of sword intent was not enough. With an experienced and knowledgeable little brother like Ling Long, it would be a waste not to use her. Wang Daoyuan performed the Sword Shadow Divine Light technique and 10 sword shadows condensed. Ling Long nodded and said telepathically, this is Venerable Devil Vanquishing Demon's Sword Shadow Divine Light technique. This technique is based on the Shadow Sword technique. It's just that the illusions of the ancient famous swords are replaced by your own natal magic weapon. Venerable Devil Vanquishing Demon's modification is excellent. To comprehend the true meaning of a famous sword, you still have to rely on others. It's better to rely on yourself than on others. Sword cultivators have to have the belief of being invincible. Relying on others is going down the wrong path. Wang Daoyuan wanted her to give him some advice on sword intent, so he fused the White Tiger sword intent and the Killing sword intent into the White Tiger blade. 10 sword shadows flew out and all attacked a point on the defensive light shield. The spot on the defensive light barrier that was attacked shook a few times, causing ripples to appear. The power of the sword shadows now was 30% of the full power of the White Tiger blade. 10 sword shadows added together were far less powerful than the heaven-slaying sword. However, the heaven-slaying sword attacked in a line, and its power was scattered. The 10 sword shadows attacked a point, and their power was concentrated. Therefore, in a certain point, the sword shadows were more powerful than the heaven-slaying sword. Ling Long transmitted her voice again. The power is not bad. You fused 2 kinds of sword wills at the same time. Are you going down the path of fusing sword wills like the Tai sword diagram? Wang Daoyuan also replied via voice transmission, I do want to take this path. I have penta spiritual roots, so it's not suitable for me to take the path of a sword cultivator. I saw that the fused sword intent was not bad, so I wanted to learn it. Since the establishment of the Tai sword sect, over 100 people have taken this path, but none of them were able to go far. Some were lucky enough to turn back. My Dao heart has collapsed. The Tai sword sect could not take this path, mainly because they lacked the means to fuse the sword wills. Although the golden book that Wang Daoyuan had obtained from the Guiyuan sword sect was severely damaged, it still recorded some methods of fusing sword intent. Through these methods, it was still possible to get started. As long as he could successfully fuse the embryonic form of the Guiyuan sword intent, he would have a foundation and could slowly explore it in the future. My Dao heart won't crumble so easily, and I'm not a sword cultivator who will walk down the path of darkness. I've dabbled in body refinement, dharma spells, pills, artifacts, and talisman arrays. It doesn't matter if the path of a sword cultivator is ruined. Since that's the case, you can give it a try. The Tai sword sect summed up some methods of fusing sword intent, and the most reliable one is to forcefully suppress the sword intent together. At the same time, fuse it with your natal sword and use dharma spells. With more practice, you can fuse the sword intent together. I've only heard of this method, and you can try it yourself to see how effective it is. Wang Daoyuan nodded and used his divine sense to forcefully suppress the two sword intents together. Then, his heart was filled with killing intent, and he used some of the incomplete methods recorded in the Golden Book to control the 10 sword shadows to slash out. He did feel that the power of the 10 sword shadows had increased slightly. The increase was very small, and apart from him, others would not be able to detect it. The consumption of the sword shadow divine light technique was not small, but to the current Wang Daoyuan, this consumption was not a big deal. He drew out a bit of spiritual qi from the space of the spiritual pearl and refined it with the spiritual fire, and it could be replenished. He controlled the 10 sword shadows and attacked with high intensity for a quarter of an hour. The other sword cultivators were in a bad state, but Wang Daoyuan was still in high spirits. Daoist Xiantian sighed. I've only heard of the 5 spirit veins in a battle of endurance, but I didn't expect their endurance to be so strong. No matter which path one cultivated, even the most durable body-tempering cultivator would find it difficult to maintain their peak state for too long if they went all out. As time passed, the repulsion between the two sword intents became smaller and smaller, and Wang Daoyuan needed less divine sense to suppress the repulsion. In order to deceive others, he took out a jar of wine and drank it in one gulp, then continued to attack the formation. Seeing him drink to replenish his spiritual qi, the others were relieved. Otherwise, they would really suspect that his spiritual qi was endless. Everyone attacked the formation intermittently for an entire day. Wang Daoyuan had drunk a lot of spirit wine, so he persisted in attacking without stopping. Until Daoist Xiantian said, "Dao Yu, thank you for your hard work. I've already found out the truth of this formation." Everyone who was attacking the array formation also heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Daoyuan, on the other hand, was still somewhat unsatisfied. Every time he attacked, he could feel the lethality of his attacks increasing. Where else could he find such a good opportunity? He dispersed the sword shadows and stopped suppressing the sword intent. At this time, he realized that the sword intent was no longer suppressed by divine sense and was no longer separated. The repulsion between the killing sword intent and the white tiger sword intent was almost negligible. Of course, this could not be called the Guiyuan sword intent. Now, they had only completed the initial fusion, as if two things were glued together and were far from completely fusing. Everything was difficult at the beginning, but once the first step was taken, the rest would be easy. Daoist Xiantian came to Daoist Lei Yan's side, and a black energy shield appeared on the yin-yang compass, which was exactly the same as the defensive formation of Sky Devil Valley. Then, countless white beams of light moved on the energy shield. This is the direction of the spiritual qi flow of Sky Devil Valley's defensive formation. Because of the control of the Yuanian demons, the direction of the spiritual qi flow can be changed quickly. It is impossible to lock onto the weakness of the defensive light shield. However, the direction of the spiritual chi flow can be changed, but the position of the formation eye cannot be changed. Through this energy shield, we can deduce the position of the formation eye. When the time comes, Senior Brother Lei Yan will use the violet gold exquisite pagoda to suppress the spiritual chi flow in the formation, so that the formation eye cannot share the pressure. The rest of us will attack together and attack the vicinity of the formation eye. We will let this formation eye bear all the attack power. Even if this formation eye is refined with 5th grade materials, it will still be able to shatter it. Once the formation eye is broken, the formation will naturally be broken. Give me a few days, I will analyze the position of the formation eye. Dao Yu who knows formations can also come. The more people there are, the faster we can find the position of the formation eye. The golden core cultivators here could be said to be the cream of the crop in the whole of Beiyuan Shouxian, and there were many who knew formations. Everyone was willing to help analyze the formation, so that they could break the formation as soon as possible and exterminate the demons. Privately, the Archaic Mysteries sect was the strongest formation in the world. Discussing formations with the Archaic Mysteries sect leader would also greatly improve their own formation skills. Wang Daoyuan also did not let go of this opportunity. His formation skills were not far from the 4th grade. If he consulted Daoist Xian Tian, he might be able to break through. More than 24th grade formation masters gathered on a flying warship. Everyone looked at the defensive light shield on the yin-yang compass and analyzed where each strand of spiritual chi came from, where it disappeared, and where it passed through. If they could analyze the path of all the spiritual chi, the place where the spiritual chi appeared and disappeared the most would definitely be the formation eye. Of course, there was no need to analyze all the spiritual chi. They only needed to analyze a part of it to deduce the position of all the formation eyes. The higher their formation skills, the stronger their deduction ability, and the less spiritual chi they needed to analyze, and the easier it would be to break the formation. If their formation skills were too low, they would not even be able to analyze the path of a strand of spiritual chi. Chapter 707. There was strength in numbers. With more than 24th grade formation masters working together, it only took them a little more than a day to analyze the flow of spirit energy on the formation. Daoist Shantian and a few other Archaic Arcanum sect cultivators started to deduce the locations of the formation cores. The Archaic Arcanum sect cultivators didn't hold back and even explained the formation to the others. It was a rare opportunity for the number 1 formation master in the world to personally explain to formation masters. A day later, the Archaic Arcanum sect cultivators had deduced the locations of all the formation cores. He also explained the process of the deduction to everyone. Wang Daoyuan also felt that he had benefited a lot. After defeating the demons, he should be able to become a middle grade 4th grade formation master. Daoist Shantian walked out of the flying warship with the yin-yang compass and came to Daoist Lei Yan's side. At this moment, there were more than 40 blood-red dots on the black light barrier of the yin-yang compass. He pointed at the black light barrier and said, "Senior Lei Yan, I've already marked out the formation cores outside the demon's formation. The Sky Devil Valley's formation has a total of 49 formation cores. We're at the north of Sky Devil Valley, so it's the most convenient to attack this formation core. When we attack later, I need you to use the purple gold jewel pagoda to suppress this formation core and slow down the flow of spirit energy nearby. This way, this place will become more fragile. When the others attack this place, they will definitely be able to break this formation core. Do you have any other instructions?" Daoist Lei Yan waved his hand and said, "Although I'm not an amateur when it comes to formations, I'm still far from you. You'll command the attack on the formation, I'll just follow your orders." With Daoist Lei Yan's words, Daoist Shantian started to command everyone. The late Golden Core stage cultivators weren't that strong. Other than Daoist Swordless, everyone else stayed in the flying warship. They borrowed the power of the warship to attack the formation. The peak Golden Core stage and half-step Yuanying left the flying warship and took out their natal magic artifacts, preparing to launch their strongest attack. Daoist Lei Yan took out the purple gold jewel pagoda and poured a large amount of purple gold thunder fire into it. The artifact Spirit Cursed, Junior Lei Yan, Are you trying to stuff me to death? I've just eaten and you're giving me so much spiritual fire. The Thunderflame Sage ignored him and controlled the purplish gold pagoda to fly to the northernmost formation core and released its suppressive force. Although Ling Long liked to scold him, she was still reliable at critical moments. He also mobilized the power of the Ling Long pagoda to help suppress the formation. Under the suppression of the exquisite pagoda, the flow of spiritual power on the defensive light barrier had clearly slowed down. The defensive formation used the rapid flow of spiritual power to disperse the force of the attack to other parts of the formation, allowing the formation to bear the brunt of the attack. Now that the flow of spiritual energy had slowed down, the ability to share the attack was also reduced, and the power could not be completely dispersed. It was equivalent to this small area bearing the power that should have been shared by the entire formation. Naturally, the lava was broken. Seeing this, the yin-yang compass in Daoist Xuantian's hand emitted a beam of light. This light beam was formed by two intertwining rays of black and white light. When it shone on the defensive barrier of Sky Devil Valley, it left behind a palm-sized Tai Chi diagram. Everyone, Dao Yu, attack the place I marked. As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of spells were cast. Wang Daoyuan also condensed 10 sword shadows and attacked the Taiji diagram. Under this attack, the entire defensive light barrier flickered violently. Especially where the violet gold Linglong Pagoda was suppressing, the defensive light barrier became extremely dim. The demons were also anxious. From the looks of it, the defensive formation would not be able to hold on for long. The Yuanying demons began to inject spiritual power into the formation eye in the north, helping the formation withstand the attacks of the humans. The cultivators attacked again, and the magic tools of the 14 flying warships also attacked at the same time. This time, with the infusion of spiritual power from the demons, the formation became more stable. This was also expected, and the humans were not discouraged. After half an hour, both sides were running out of spiritual power. Wang Daoyuan suggested to Lei Yanjinren, "Master, the demons' resources are not as good as ours. Why don't we take turns and fight them to wear them down? Our resources are enough to last for a few years, and there is still an endless supply of resources coming from the rear. They won't be able to hold on for long if we fight them head-on." Lei Yanjinren nodded, "We'll do as you say." Then, the humans divided the cultivators into 3 teams, each team attacking for 15 minutes. After each team attacked, they would have 30 minutes to recover their spiritual power and divine sense. As long as there was enough recovery pills and spirit wine, 30 minutes was enough for them to recover. Only the violet gold Linglong Pagoda was more strenuous, as it needed to constantly suppress the formation. But with Wang Daoyuan's continuous supply of spiritual fire, the Linglong Pagoda could also hold on. The demons were in a worse situation. Most of the spiritual items in the cultivation world were not suitable for them. In the past, when the demons attacked the human territory, they relied on killing humans and fierce beasts to obtain resources. Now that they were trapped in Sky Devil Valley, they did not even dare to show their faces, let alone kill. They could only rely on the spirit vein in Sky Devil Valley to recover their spiritual power. Other than that, there was also the demonic chi left behind by the demons who died in battle. But these things needed to be slowly absorbed by the cultivation technique, and could not be compared to eating pills and drinking spirit wine. Not to mention 30 minutes, even 4 hours would not be enough to make up for the consumption. Wang Daoyuan also took this opportunity to continuously train his sword intent, and strive to fully merge the White Tiger sword intent and the Killing sword intent as soon as possible. As the attacks continued, the merging of the 2 sword intents also gradually deepened. After both sides dragged it out like this for 3 days, the power of the attacks on the human side remained stable, but the trembling of the defensive light barrier became more and more intense. Very clearly, the demon's side could not quite hold on anymore. Wang Daoyuan's sword intent was also more or less merged. At this time, he felt that there was a power resonating with his sword intent in the absolute heaven abyss. He did not feel unfamiliar with this power. Back then, after forming his core, he came to demon-resisting mountain to search for the earth essence. He felt that there were 2 places that had an extremely strong attraction to him. One place was the birthplace of the spiritual bead, that was his hometown, nothing strange. The other place was at the bottom of the absolute heaven abyss, making him feel both familiar and fearful. When resting, his sensing of the bottom of the absolute heaven abyss was not considered strong, but when he used his sword intent, this kind of sensing clearly strengthened. Furthermore, the deeper the fusion of the sword intents, the stronger this feeling. Wang Daoyuan guessed that the thing at the bottom of the absolute heaven abyss had something to do with the Guiyuan sword intent. It was most likely something left behind by an ancient cultivator who cultivated the Guiyuan sword intent in the ancient times. This thing had an extremely great benefit towards comprehending the Guiyuan sword intent. He also let his own sword intent go and imitate that power in the absolute heaven abyss. Sure enough, the improvement of his sword intent was very obvious. At the same time, the sensing also became even stronger. On the fourth evening, more than half of the sun had already set below the western mountains, only leaving behind the setting sun, illuminating the entire earth into a blood-red color. Now, it was Wang Daoyuan's turn to rest. He was currently meditating at the back. With the help of the spiritual wine, his spiritual energy had already recovered long ago. He did not revolve the cultivation method either, just comprehending the sword intent. At this time, the two sword intents had already basically finished fusing. Wanting to separate them was also impossible. It was just that the power of the sword intents did not undergo a qualitative change. Wang Daoyuan carefully sensed that power in the absolute heaven abyss, wanting to comprehend the true Guiyuan sword intent from it. Very soon, it was his turn to attack the array formation again. Currently, the defensive light barrier was already extremely weak. One could practically see the ferocious faces of the fiends inside the array formation. He followed Daoist Master Xian Tian's command, attacking the Taiji diagram on the array formation together with everyone. When attacking, most of his mind was immersed in the sword intent. But the cultivators at the side unconsciously distanced themselves. Wang Daoyuan himself did not notice that each time he controlled the 10 sword shadows to attack, the killing intent on his body would strengthen by a fraction. The intense killing intent made the other cultivators feel their hair stand on end. He had fallen into a kind of special state. In his heart, there was only the thing he wanted to comprehend, and no other distracting thoughts. In this kind of state, no matter what he comprehended, the effect would be far better than usual. Cultivators generally called this kind of state as epiphany, and also reaching heaven-man unity. Chapter 708. For any cultivator, the state of epiphany was something that could only be chanced upon and not sought. This was related to one's perception and temperament. Those with high perception and a pure temperament were more likely to enter the state of epiphany. Wang Daoyuan's perception was naturally extremely high, but he was thinking too much. After cultivating for more than 200 years, this was the first time he had entered the state of epiphany. He was even inferior to many cultivators with mediocre aptitude. The reason why epiphany was called the unity of heaven and man was because there would sometimes be unexpected gains during epiphany. For example, the legendary, divine bestowment in dreams, was to enter the state of epiphany in a dream and comprehend something extraordinary. Back then, when the 5 elements spiritual master created the 5 spirit immortal art, he wanted to improve the slow cultivation speed of cultivators with 5 spirit roots. He wanted to create artificial spirit roots to increase the cultivation speed. At that time, the 5 elements spiritual master was only at the Violet Palace realm and could not create it. After thinking hard for many years, he came up with nothing. By chance, he entered the state of epiphany and comprehended the method to make spirit power pure. After that, he continued to improve on this foundation. In the end, it formed a spirit power seed. Unlike spirit roots, the spirit power seed could not condense quintessential essence and directly increase cultivation. However, it could increase the speed of refining spirit power and make it purer. Wang Daoyuan could be considered to have seen many cultivation techniques. He had the inheritance of all the cultivation techniques of the underworld sect, part of the inheritance of the cruel Sun Palace, the inheritance of perfected Lord Hundred Spirits, and the cultivation techniques of the Valley of Beasts. These cultivation techniques were superior to the 5 spirit immortal art in many aspects. However, none of them could compare to the 5-spirit immortal art in terms of refining and purifying spirit power. Especially in terms of using spirit fire, the inheritance of perfected Lord 100 spirits was far inferior to the spirit power seed. This was the core and essence of the entire cultivation technique. It came from epiphany. At this moment, a sword appeared in Wang Daoyuan's consciousness. This sword did not have any decorations and was exactly the same as the sword in the Tai sword diagram. It carried an extremely strong killing aura and a hint of majesty. This sword intent was what Wang Daoyuan wanted to fuse. He immersed his entire mind into this sword. Without the control of his spirit sense, his body was still instinctively controlling the 10 sword shadows to attack the formation. There were no more cultivators within 30 miles of him. They were all worried that they would ruin his state of epiphany. Ruining his cultivation path was comparable to killing one's father. 15 minutes later, the sound of metal being twisted and broken could be heard. Then, the entire defensive formation of Sky Devil Valley collapsed. Both the human race and the demon race had been waiting for this moment. Without the obstruction of the formation, it was time for the human race and the devil race to decide life and death. At this moment, the sword in Wang Daoyuan's consciousness slashed at him. He waved the Tai Divine sword in his hand to block, but the long sword directly passed through the Tai Divine sword and slashed his body. When the array formation was broken, the devil race cultivators saw Wang Daoyuan, their eyes turned red. Especially when his eyes were still closed, as if he had reached a critical juncture in his cultivation. The group of devils rushed towards him. The human cultivators naturally wouldn't let them have their way, and they all moved to stop them. The 5 Yuanying devils were all stopped. Only a half-step Yuanying blood demon broke through the blockade and arrived in front of Wang Daoyuan. Perfected Thunderflame wanted to help, but he was entangled by the lightning demon. The purple gold exquisite pagoda was also blocked by the ice demon. The other cultivators were too far away and couldn't rush over. They couldn't stop the blood demon with a single spell. Everyone was as anxious as ants on a hot pan, but they couldn't help. At this moment, Wang Daoyuan suddenly opened his eyes and saw a big guy flying towards him. He stretched out his right hand and clenched it into a fist. The blood demon was less than 100 feet away from him, but he was suddenly surrounded by 108 sword shadows. This was the heaven-sealing sword prison. Many sword shadows slashed out with sword chi. A ray of bloody light passed through the sword shadows and went straight for Wang Daoyuan's chest. He was no stranger to this thing. It was the bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade. However, the half-step Yuanying blood demon was much weaker than the previous one. Before he could retract his sword shadow divine light technique, a sword shadow met the bloody light and shattered it. After a breath, the heaven-sealing sword prison dispersed. More than a dozen pieces of blood-red limbs fell from the sky. The humans and demons present were stunned. This was a half-step Yuanying blood demon, whose body was comparable to a beast of the same level. Perfected Cloudsword was the most shocked. The Tai sword sect had played with the demons for tens of thousands of years and naturally knew them well. He knew that it would be difficult to kill a blood demon of the same level without the power of the Tai sword. Even if he used the Tai sword, he wouldn't be able to kill it instantly. After killing the blood demon, Wang Daoyuan flew towards the demon puppet, ready to kill another half-step Yuanying blood demon. Mo Ting naturally saw how Wang Daoyuan killed the blood demon in an instant. This move had the ability to severely injure the Yuanying blood demon. The demons were already at a disadvantage in terms of high-end combat strength, and now they were at a disadvantage. He was very decisive and shouted, "Retreat!" The demons began to flee into the depths of Heavenly Devil Valley, where the demonic chi was extremely dense. The demons could use the geographical advantage to make up for their lack of strength. Wang Daoyuan held a sword with both hands. Countless sword chi flew out from his hands and condensed into a giant sword. This wasn't the sky-cleaving sword, but the sword that slashed towards him in his consciousness when he was in the epiphany. It was similar to the sky-cleaving sword and the spell that Perfected Cloudsword used before. The three might be of the same origin. He had the sky-cleaving sword as a foundation, so it wasn't difficult for him to use this move. As soon as the giant sword appeared, the Tai sword in Perfected Cloud Sword's hand began to tremble violently. It wanted to break free from Perfected Cloud Sword's control and fly into Wang Daoyuan's hand. At this time, the sword intent resonance from the bottom of Decimating Heaven Abyss became even stronger. The giant sword left his hand and slashed towards the demon puppet. The former leader of the demons, the number 1 demon under the Yuanying blood demon, actually didn't dare to face the giant sword directly. He turned into a bloody light and fled into the depths of Heavenly Devil Valley. The giant sword shadow chased closely. Mo Ting naturally wouldn't watch the demon puppet be killed. He casually summoned a thunderbolt and hit the giant sword shadow. The giant sword was shattered, and the power of the thunderbolt was exhausted. Being able to block a casual attack from the Yuanying blood demon was something to be proud of. Wang Daoyuan naturally felt the Tai sword's movements and shouted, "Sword, come!" Perfected Cloud Sword gritted his teeth and shattered the consciousness imprint in the Tai sword. He removed the master status and threw it to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan took the Tai sword and used the sky-piercing sword teleportation, turning into a long sword and chasing after the demon puppet. At the same time, he poured the Guiyuan sword intent and spiritual energy into the Tai sword. The Tai sword didn't need to recognize a master and could be easily controlled. However, it couldn't be controlled as easily as the white tiger blade. After chasing the demon puppet for a while, he couldn't close the distance. Seeing that the demon puppet was about to run into a place with dense demonic qi, Wang Daoyuan stopped chasing. Holding the Tai sword in his hand, countless sword qi flew out of the sword and condensed into a giant sword. Waving the long sword in his hand, the giant sword flew out and slashed at the demon puppet. No matter how fast his teleportation technique was, it couldn't be faster than a spell. Seeing that the giant sword was about to hit the demon puppet, Shuiyuan, who was flying beside him, casually shot out a blood-colored spiritual energy ball, which turned into a shield. The giant sword slashed on the shield, emitting a violent spiritual energy fluctuation. Then, the shield shattered, and the giant sword still had energy left to slash at the demon puppet. Unfortunately, it couldn't break through the demon puppet's soft armor and only made him spit out a mouthful of blood. The Yuanying and half-step Yuanying demons had escaped, but the remaining peak Jindan demons and more than a dozen intermediate Jindan demons didn't have the ability to escape from the hands of the human race. The human race's Jindan demons had been blocked by the formation for a long time and were full of pent-up anger. They vented it all on the Jindan demons and killed all of them. The demons had already escaped into a place with dense demonic qi. Without preparation, they might suffer a great loss if they rushed in rashly. The people of the Archaic Mysteries sect took out pieces of formation plates and set up a formation in the Sky Devil Valley. The demons abandoned half of the Sky Devil Valley and escaped to the place with the densest demonic qi. Naturally, they couldn't retreat so easily. Otherwise, if the demons came out to repair the formation, all their previous efforts would be wasted. They might as well stay here and slowly deal with the demons. Chapter 709. The speed at which the Tianji sect's cultivators set up the array was also extremely fast. They set up a defensive array around the periphery of the Heavenly Devil Valley, and even set up a trap array around the Devil Race's territory. Now, if the demons wanted to come out, they would have to break the array first. The humans had the upper hand in terms of strength. If they wanted to break the formation, they wouldn't even be able to pay with their lives. Some of the human cultivators stood guard near the trapping array to prevent the demons from charging into the array. As for the other cultivators, they stayed in the outer defensive formation and meditated to recover their spiritual power. Cloudsword invited Wang Daoyuan and Thunderflame to a cave at the edge of Sky Devil Valley. Daoist Cloudsword asked curiously, "Martial nephew Daoyuan, may I ask why you can resonate with the Tai celestial sword of my Tai sword sect? Such a situation has never occurred in the tens of thousands of years of history of our Tai sword sect. I heard from Wujian that you were trying to fuse sword intents. Those seniors who walked the path of fused sword intent were not weak when they used the Tai sword. However, none of them could resonate with the Tai sword that had recognized someone else as its master. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but did you succeed in fusing the sword intent? This matter concerns the inheritance of my Tai sword sect. Please forgive me. Wang Daoyuan nodded. When I was in the state of epiphany, I did complete the fusion of sword intents. The technique I used earlier was something I learned during my epiphany. I just didn't expect it to be so similar to the technique Martial Uncle Cloud's Word used earlier. Daoist Cloud's Word laughed. What a coincidence. This move is called the Demon Slaying Sword. It was comprehended by a senior of the Tai sword sect tens of thousands of years ago. Now that you're able to comprehend the Demon Slaying Sword, there's an 80% chance that this sword is closely related to the Tai sword diagram. I have a presumptuous request. The Tai sword diagram is the core inheritance of my Tai sword sect, but no one has been able to comprehend it. Now that Martial Nephew has obtained the true importation of the Tai sword diagram, can you give Wu Jian some pointers? My Tai sword sect will not let Martial Nephew suffer any losses. If Martial Nephew takes a fancy to anything in the sect, feel free to take it. The core inheritance of the Tai sword sect had not been comprehended by anyone for tens of thousands of years. Now that Wang Daoyuan had comprehended it, the people of the Tai sword sect did not. In the future, the Tai sword sect's orthodox lineage would be in the hands of the Wang clan. Either the Wang clan would join the Tai sword sect, or pass on the method of fusing sword intents. Otherwise, both sides would have conflicts in the future. Instructing other apprentice brothers is easy, but instructing apprentice brother swordless, I really don't have that ability. He had already walked on his own path. Asking him to cultivate and fuse the sword would be destroying his path. The Tai sword diagram played a huge role in my success in fusing the sword intent. I owe the Tai sword sect a favor. Naturally, the Tai sword sect also had a share of the insights. It's just that I was lucky to be able to comprehend the fused sword intent. Even if I give you pointers, I can't guarantee that it will be useful. Daoist Cloud's Word hurriedly replied, Thank you, Martial Nephew Daoyuan. My Tai sword sect can't take advantage of you for nothing. Apart from that, he also passed the crafting method of the Tai God sword to junior nephew. In the future, if anyone from the Wang clan walks the path of sword cultivation, they can come to the Tai sword sect at any time to study the original copy of the Tai sword diagram. Reverend Cloud's Word really knew how to get things done. The conditions he offered were extremely generous. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly waved his hand and said, Everything else is fine, but forget about the Tai divine sword. Your sect only has this one Tai divine sword now, so I don't dare to take it. I'll use it to deal with the demons first. I'll return the Tai divine sword after I wipe them out. It's more convenient for me to use the white tiger blade. I just need the crafting method of the Tai divine sword. I'll be able to use it when I improve the white tiger blade in the future. After saying that, he took out a broken sword and handed it to Reverend Cloud's Word. It's all thanks to the secret manual of the Beiyuan sword sect that I was able to comprehend the fused sword intent. This is the broken sword that Beiyuan wanderer found when he explored the cave of an ancient cultivator. At the same time, he also obtained the original copy of the Beiyuan sword manual. Originally, it was also badly damaged. There were some fragments of sword intent comprehension, but there was no real object to refer to. The Tai divine sword diagram was a reference, but there was no method to comprehend it. I was lucky to obtain the incomplete method, and after comprehending the Tai divine sword diagram, I was able to successfully fuse the sword intent. Reverend Cloud's Word smiled. So, my Tai sword sect's inheritance is actually of the same origin as the Beiyuan sword sect. No wonder when I saw the inheritance of the Beiyuan sword sect, I felt that although it was crude, it had some similarities with my Tai sword sect's inheritance. Wang Daoyuan took out the golden book of the Beiyuan sword manual and handed it to Reverend Cloud's Word. The method to comprehend the sword intent was obtained from this golden book. Reverend Cloud's Word took the golden book and took out a beast skin book. This is the crafting method of the Tai divine sword, as well as the analysis of the Tai divine sword by the ancestors of the past. Reverend Cloud's Word was quite particular. He copied the sword intent comprehension part of the Golden Book, and didn't even look at the magical arts part of the Golden Book. After copying, he returned the Golden Book to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan was able to fuse the Guiyuan's sword intent not only because of his epiphany, but also because of that thing in the decimating heaven abyss. The Tai sword sect obtained the method to fuse the sword intent. Even if he stared at the Tai divine sword diagram every day, it would still be very difficult to fuse the Guiyuan's sword intent. Afterward, the two discussed the trick to fusing the sword intent. After a while, the higher-ups of the other four sects also came to the cave. Reverend Shintian cupped his hands and said, "Senior brother Lei Yan, the demons are hiding in the sealed pit underground. There are many ancient demon corpses there, and the demonic chi is very dense. My formation can only trap them. If we attack, even if we win, we'll suffer heavy casualties." Lei Yan pondered for a long time before saying, "It's definitely not worth it to go in. We'll attack from outside the sealed pit, and try to cause more casualties to the demons. If it's effective, we'll charge in and give them a good beating. If it's not effective, we'll repair the sealing formation from before." Hearing this, Reverend Shintian had a helpless expression. Senior brother Lei Yan, this time, the seal was forcefully broken by the demons, and the formation core was severely damaged. With the strength of our archaic arcanum sect, it's impossible to repair the formation. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If the sealing formation couldn't be repaired, then they had to annihilate the demons in one fell swoop. If they didn't have any good ideas, they could only enter the sealed pit and fight to the death with the demons. Casualties would definitely be unavoidable. Seeing that victory was in sight, no one wanted to die. Wang Daoyuan pondered for a while before saying, "How about this? Martial Uncle Shantian can set up a spirit gathering formation around the sealed pit, and draw in a large amount of spiritual chi. I'll use this spiritual chi to ignite the Golden Crow's life spirit fire, and pour it into the sealed pit, trying my best to eliminate the demonic chi in the pit. These demons have already been dead for tens of thousands of years, and now Beiyuan doesn't even have rank 5 spiritual chi. No matter how much demonic chi is left behind from the demon corpses, it's impossible for it to be endless. If we spend a few more years, we'll be able to exhaust it. Dao Yu also has some methods to deal with the demons, and we can use them. We're here to fight against the demons, and we're already prepared to not return, so it doesn't matter if we spend a few more years." Everyone nodded in agreement. For a golden core cultivator, a few dozen years was nothing. Spending a bit more time to avoid risks was also very good. The cultivators who came to fight against the demons were at least in the late golden core stage. The violent spiritual chi of the southern wasteland had little effect on them, and they could completely cultivate here. Daoist Lei Yan nodded. "Since no one has any objections, then let's do it this way. I'll have to trouble Martial Brother Shintian to set up the spirit gathering formation." Daoist Shintian cupped his hands. "This is a small matter, give me a few days, and I'll be able to set up a high rank 4 spirit gathering formation around the sealed pit. The spiritual chi in a radius of 10,000 miles will be gathered here." Then, he left the cave with a few archaic mysteries sect cultivators. The area of the sealed pit wasn't small, and the opening of the seal had a diameter of more than 50 miles. There was also a huge space below, which was left behind when the demon corpses were buried. 3 days later, the spiritual chi in the entire Heavenly Devil Valley suddenly increased. Previously, the spiritual chi here was comparable to a high rank 4 spirit gathering formation, and now it was even stronger, no less than the bottom of the treasured Cauldron Valley. Chapter 710. The spiritual veins of the demon-resisting mountain had no attributes. The Sky Devil Valley was located in the middle of the demon-resisting mountain, so the spiritual energy gathered by the spirit gathering array was also of no attributes. Wang Daoyuan didn't plan to hide the fact that he had the earth's spiritual fire. His current strength was second only to the Thunder Flame Immortal and the Purple Gold Exquisite Pagoda. At the same time, he released the 5 elements spiritual fire to ignite the surrounding spiritual energy. The entire Sky Devil Valley, which had a diameter of more than 500 miles, was instantly enveloped by the 5 elements spiritual fire. All the human cultivators were shocked. Gathering the 5 elemental spiritual fires was something that no one had ever done before. He took out the meteorite fire-controlling gourd, drew out a wisp of flame from the red-winged crow, and put it into the gourd. The red-winged crow's spiritual fire had a stronger pure yang qi than the red yang real fire. Naturally, it had a stronger restraining effect on the demons. Then, he continued to draw spiritual energy from the 5 elements spiritual fire. The fire spiritual energy was directly injected into the gourd, and the other spiritual energy was absorbed into his body. He used his cultivation method to convert all the spiritual energy into the fire attribute, and then injected it into the gourd. With the support of a huge amount of spiritual energy, the meteorite fire-controlling gourd kept spewing out red and gold flames into the seal pit. The demons below naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for death. They also set up a formation to resist the erosion of the flames. Xiantian took out the yin-yang compass and measured the flow of spiritual energy nearby. There's a small spiritual vein underground. It's hidden deep enough that we didn't find it before. Give me some time, I'll go and break the small spiritual vein below. With the formation's obstruction, it wouldn't work for the time being. He also stopped controlling the meteorite fire-controlling gourd to spew out flames. He took out the Suzaku fan and controlled the 5 elements spiritual fire to suppress the fire. He also drew some spiritual energy from the 5 elements spiritual fire. In addition to using it for cultivation, he also sent some into the space of the spiritual pearl. Although he couldn't figure out how much spiritual energy was hidden in the void between the space of the spiritual pearl and the outer shell. But no matter how much there was, it wasn't infinite. He needed to replenish it. Exquisite also jumped out of the purple gold exquisite pagoda and ate some flames. With a spiritual weapon, it was easy to nurture a magic weapon. As long as the spiritual weapon absorbed spiritual energy, it would have a nurturing effect. A quarter of an hour later, Exquisite burped and jumped onto Wang Daoyuan's head. Daoyuan's spirit fire is still the best. The purple gold exquisite pagoda was divided into 9 levels, each representing the 9 elements. It was normal for Linglong to like things that had all 5 elements. He sent a voice transmission to Wang Daoyuan and said, "The sword intent you released when you killed the blood demon felt somewhat familiar. Show it to me." Wang Daoyuan did not refuse. He infused the returning origin sword intent into the white tiger blade and then used the sword shadow divine light technique. Linglong grabbed a sword shadow and bit it. He closed his eyes and pondered for a long time. It is indeed somewhat familiar. It seems that I have felt it a long time ago. He didn't sense it from the Tai divine sword diagram. He must have sensed it when the demon race invaded. More than 70,000 years have passed, and I really can't remember the specific time and place where I encountered this sword intent. Wang Daoyuan did not find it strange either. He could still feel that inside the absolute heaven abyss, there was something resonating with his sword intent. It was most likely a relic left behind by a senior who fought against the demon race during the ancient times. Linglong also experienced the demon race's invasion. She might have met that senior. The archaic mysteries sex people moved extremely quickly. A day later, Daoist Xiantian ran over. "All right, the small spirit vein in the seal pit has already been cut off by us." Wang Daoyuan released the suppression of the 5 elements spiritual fire. The flames burned fiercely again. He also continued to extract spirit energy and infused it into the meteor fire controlling gourd. The gourd continued to spit out crimson gold flames into the seal pit. Without the obstruction of the array, the flames directly penetrated several hundred meters into the ground. Soon, a wave of demonic qi gushed out from below, contending with the flames. No matter how much demonic qi the demon race buried underground stored, there would always be a time when it was exhausted. The source of the crimson gold flame spirit energy was the entire demon-resisting mountain spirit vein. It could also borrow the spiritual qi that seeped over from the absolute heaven abyss. It could be said to be inexhaustible. The demonic qi below gradually retreated, and the crimson gold flames gradually pushed down. Of course, the battle of attrition with the demon race could not be done by Wang Daoyuan alone. Although he was not afraid of the consumption of spirit energy, during this process, his body was the tool to transform the spirit energy's attribute. His meridians were always in a state of high burden, and he was also very tired. Daoist Thunderflame also came over many times to take turns. His Purple Thunder Divine Flame was a rank 5 spiritual fire. It was also of the lightning attribute, and its restraining effect on demonic chi was much better than the Crimson Gold Flames. The other fire attribute cultivators also took over from Wang Daoyuan from time to time, infusing fire attribute spirit energy into the meteor fire controlling gourd. The demon race below did not dare to show their heads from beginning to end, planning to be a coward until the end. The current situation of the human race was different from 10,000 years ago. At that time, the demon race was powerful, and the human race did not dare to consume too much energy with the demon race. Therefore, they did not completely flatten the demon race in one go. Now that the human race had Yuaniing cultivators, and the demon race did not have rank 5 spiritual beasts, they did not dare to act rashly. In addition, the 10,000 corpse master obeyed the orders of the human race. If the demon race dared to cause trouble there, the 10,000 corpse master would be sent over to relieve their boredom. The entire human race's elites had spent a few years in the southern wasteland, but the demon race did not make a move at all. Without any worries, they did not care how long it would take. After spending 2 years here, Wang Daoyuan used the Crimson Gold Flames to investigate the situation in the seal pit. At this time, the Crimson Gold Flames had already reached the bottom of the seal pit, and were already more than 50,000 feet below the ground where the human race cultivators were. Without the demonic chi's concealment, divine sense could easily explore the bottom. The space below was very large, and there were many forks in it, like a huge maze. There was also dense demonic chi in these forks. If they rashly went down, no matter how many people there were, it would not be enough. With the dust returning flame, they would only go down if they had nothing better to do. Now that the underground spirit vein was cut off, the demon race could not set up a permanent formation, and they did not have the means to block the dust returning flame for long. The demonic chi could also suppress the dust returning flame, but it was exhausted by the Crimson Gold Flames. If they directly set fire to the entire Sky Devil Valley, it would be useless no matter how many forks there were. Wang Daoyuan injected a wisp of dust returning flame into the meteoric flame controlling gourd. The flames spewed out of the gourd became 2 types. Under Wang Daoyuan's control, the flames went deep into the ground. Wherever the demonic chi was exhausted, the dust-returning flame burned again. The seal pit grew larger and larger, and the trapping formation set up previously had been removed. A year later, all the human race cultivators retreated outside Sky Devil Valley. The entire Sky Devil Valley had become a gigantic crater. More than half of the forks in the underground maze were burned up by the dust-returning flame, and the demonic chi in them was naturally exhausted. Many huge bones were exposed at the bottom of the pit, from the demon race, and the human race. After tens of thousands of years, these bones were somewhat decayed. Under the dust-returning flame, they quickly turned to ashes. In a corner of the underground maze, several Yuaniing demons gathered. Mo Ting asked, "At this point, the sacred race already has no way out. Everyone, do we fight to the death with the humans, or take the risk and escape into heaven-ending abyss?" Shui Yuan followed up, "Heaven-ending abyss's formation is not easy to pass. Entering heaven-ending abyss is a 9 out of 10 chance of survival. Rather than that, why not fight to the death with the humans? At the very least, we have to replace Daoist Thunderflame. Once he dies, the sacred race still has a chance." Ice Demon shook his head and said, "When we Yuaniing sacred race pass through heaven-ending abyss's formation, the attacks we receive are even more powerful. The possibility of dying is extremely high. We should indeed fight to the death with the humans, but those golden core and below sacred race, staying behind is also sending themselves to death. Why not send them into heaven-ending abyss? There is more or less a chance of survival." The other Yuaniing expressed their agreement. Mo Ting nodded, "Since that is the case, then let's prepare to break out towards the south." Help the golden core and below sacred race escape into heaven-ending abyss. We will fight to the death with the humans, and strive to kill a few more human cultivators. Especially that brat who insulted the heavenly devil progenitor. Even the heavenly devil progenitor's true form wants to attack him. The progenitor will not act without reason. If this person is not eliminated, he will definitely be a great disaster for the sacred race in the future. Chapter 7:11. Wang Daoyuan knew nothing about the demon race's plan. However, the underground maze was almost completely destroyed. The demon race was not a sitting duck. The human race was not unprepared either. The Celestial Arcanum sect had already set up many formations around Sky Devil Valley, waiting for the demon race to come out. A month later, there was almost no demonic chi coming out of Sky Devil Valley. The dust-returning flame burned the rocks below without restraint. Sky Devil Valley could now be called Sky Devil Abyss. Suddenly, 5 rays of light flew out from the bottom of the abyss. The flames that were burning the entire Sky Devil Abyss were rapidly shrinking. This was the result of the Yuanian cultivators using the power of law to suppress the spiritual fire. This had happened before when the demonic chi was being burned. However, it was suppressed by Lei Yanjinren. The demon race did not have enough resources to recover their spiritual energy, so they did not dare to fight Lei Yanjinren. Now that they were using the power of law to suppress the spiritual fire, they were most likely going to make a last stand. Wang Daoyuan kept the meteorite fire controlling gourd and immediately retreated towards the north. The surrounding human cultivators reacted quickly as well. They all used their escape techniques and left the Sky Devil Abyss. 5 Yuanian demons flew out from the bottom of the abyss and attacked Wang Daoyuan. Lei Yanjinren controlled the purple gold jewel pagoda to block the 5 demons. He also took out his purple gold whip and attacked Lei Mo. If he did not block Lei Yanjinren, his whip could severely injure one of the Yuanian demons. 5 Yuanian demons could be dealt with 5 whips. Lei Mo took out his sword and blocked Lei Yanjinren's attack. Lei Mo delayed the purple gold jewel pagoda. Wang Daoyuan was already prepared and did not let the demon race's sneak attack succeed. However, there were still 3 Yuanian demons chasing after him. This was a big problem. Immortal Yunha took out his ancestral weapon refining cauldron and smashed it towards Bone Demon. He also walked the path of body refinement. The power of this weapon refining cauldron was not small. Gu Mo did not dare to be careless. He gave up on killing Wang Daoyuan and began to fight with Immortal Yunha and the other 2 half-step Yuanian cultivators from the Divine Weapon Pavilion. Daoist Shantian took out his yin-yang compass, and a huge Taiji diagram appeared in front of the soul-devouring demon. Yin demons were good at sneak attacks, not head-on confrontations. He didn't dare to ignore the Taiji diagram, so he could only give up attacking Wang Daoyuan. Daoist Master Han Shuang and the other 2 half-step Yuanian cultivators from the Wind-Snow Deity Palace had been completely suppressed by the Ice Demon. Now that the Ice Demon was suppressed by the Purple Gold Exquisite Pagoda, they could find other demons to vent their anger. Adept Frost waved the mystic ice feather fan in her hand, and the Bloody Abyss was instantly sealed in ice. After all, Blood Abyss was a Yuanian demon. He would not be subdued so easily. Blood-red spirit energy surged all over his body, shattering the layer of ice. His body was almost unharmed. Daoist Master Cloudsword's Tai Divine Sword was in Wang Daoyuan's hands. He did not have the confidence to fight against the Yuanian demons. Daoist Master Fengyi of the Zhou nation naturally would not stand by and watch his niece and son-in-law be hunted by the demons. He took out a red flag with a 5-colored phoenix pattern embroidered on it. Daoist Master Fengyi waved the flag, and a 5-colored phoenix flew out. The Zhou nation's foundation was really deep. This 5-colored phoenix was actually an artifact spirit. This flag had not reached the 5th stage. Compared to the exquisite pagoda, this artifact spirit was far inferior. It was unknown what secret technique the Zhou clan had that could awaken the artifact spirit of a high-grade 4th stage magic artifact. With an artifact spirit, its power was naturally not weak. Blood Abyss did not dare to underestimate the phoenix. Wang Daoyuan did not only know how to run. The Tai Divine Sword was already in his hand. Countless sword chi flew out of the Tai Divine Sword, condensing into a 100-meter-long giant sword. Now that the Tai Divine Sword had recognized its master, it could unleash much more power than before. Blood Abyss took out a blood-colored halberd and tangled with Daoist Master Fengyi. Seeing that the ice sealing technique was useless against Blood Abyss, Daoist Master Han Shuang also changed her attack method. Waving the mystic ice feather fan, she shot out countless snowflakes. These snowflakes were blown by the cold wind. The power was also comparable to a first-rate golden core cultivator's all-out attack. Touching Blood Abyss, it could also leave a shallow wound. The cold air also seeped into Blood Abyss's body through the wound. The demon-slaying sword condensed by Wang Daoyuan also made Blood Abyss feel threatened. He raised the Tai Divine Sword high and slashed down at Blood Abyss. The giant sword flew out at the same time, pointing straight at Blood Abyss. Blood Abyss was entangled by the four people and could not free his hands to deal with the demon-slaying sword. He could only open his mouth and spit out a streak of blood light. Wang Daoyuan was all too familiar with this move. It was precisely the bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade. It was just that the power this time was far inferior. The bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade was condensed from the blood demon's own blood essence. It needed a very long time to nurture before it could have extremely powerful power. Blood Abyss's bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade was refined by the purple gold exquisite pagoda. How powerful could this one be after being nurtured for a few years? The blood light hit the demon-slaying sword and was quickly shattered into dozens of blood-colored fragments. The demon-slaying sword became much dimmer, but it still had more than 30% of its power. Blood Abyss had no choice but to wave the halberd in his hand and hit the demon-slaying sword. He was a true Yuanying demon. The demon-slaying sword was directly shattered. Venerable Windwing and Venerable Han Shuang naturally would not let go of this opportunity. They repeatedly attacked and left a few wounds on Blood Abyss's body. Wang Daoyuan used the Sword Shadow Divine Light technique and summoned 10 sword shadows, waiting for an opportunity to sneak attack Blood Abyss. Blood Abyss was beaten black and blue. The other Yuanying demons were also not in a good state. Needless to say, Lightning Demon and Ice Demon were suppressed by Venerable Thunderflame and the purple gold exquisite pagoda. Bone Demon was also besieged by the experts of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and Tai Sword Sect and was also at a disadvantage. However, Venerable Cloudsword did not have the help of the Tai Divine Sword and could not cause too much damage to Bone Demon. Bone Demon, on the other hand, had the ability to fight back. Soul Eater Demon was in a worse state. He was seriously injured and had not recovered yet. The cultivators of the Celestial Arcanum sect were enough to deal with him. Venerable Mo Lin, the Supreme Emperor of the Qin state, also went to join in the fun. He held the black dragon scale heavy sword passed down by the ancestors of the state of Qin and rushed towards Soul Eater Demon's face, looking for a chance to fight hand to hand. This disgusted Soul Eater Demon. With his little physical strength, he did not dare to fight with Venerable Mo Lin. He could only use his escape technique to escape. The human cultivators focused their attention on the 5 Yuanying demons. The 4 half-step Yuanying demons led hundreds of demons out of the heavenly devil abyss on a flying boat that was more than 20 feet long and fled to the south. However, they were soon blocked by a formation. Mo Zhu threw out a blue bead and smashed it into the array. The formation within a radius of 10 miles was broken in an instant. The flying boat continued to flee to the south. When Venerable Han Shuang saw this, she smiled and said, "My wind snow deity palace has never fallen behind. We came to the southern wilderness together with the Celestial Arcanum sect. The Celestial Arcanum sect has made a lot of contributions. My wind snow deity palace can't just stand by and watch. Wind Wings Daoyu, martial nephew Daoyuan, I'll leave this blood demon to you. I'll go teach the demons a lesson." Wang Daoyuan quickly took over Venerable Han Shuang's position and entangled Blood Abyss with Venerable Feng Yi. With 2 magic artifacts, it was not a problem to hold back the blood demon. Venerable Han Shuang and the two half-step Yuanian cultivators of the Wind Snow Deity Palace got rid of the blood demon and flew to the south. Venerable Han Shuang threw out the mystic ice feather fan and the three began to form hand seals. After half a breath, 3 streams of cold air were injected into the mystic ice feather fan. The feather fan waved gently and a cold wind blew out. The crowd did not feel anything special. The cold air in the wind was not very strong. However, when the cold air flew south to the southern edge of the Heavenly Devil Valley, it directly exploded. The surrounding 500 miles was covered by the cold air and snow began to fall. Wang Daoyuan recognized this magic art. It was the Wind Snow Deity Palace's windy snow-chilling day. The flying boat used by the demons below the Yuanian realm happened to be within this range. The flying boat flew for more than 10 miles before it was frozen by the thick ice armor and fell to the ground. Both the people and the flying boat were smashed into pieces. For half-step Yuanian cultivators and dozens of Golden Core realm demons were directly turned into ice fragments by this move. From the southern edge of the Heavenly Devil Valley to the decimating Heaven Abyss, hundreds of miles were completely frozen. It was no wonder that the Wind Snow Deity Palace had guarded the northern mountains for tens of thousands of years and no demons dared to provoke them. Wang Daoyuan did not have the confidence to block the combined attack of 3 half-step Yuanian cultivators and their magic artifacts. Chapter 712. Seeing their fellow clansmen all killed, the 5 Yuanian devils' eyes were about to split open. Shui Yuan cursed angrily, "Those sacred races had no power to resist at all in your human race's hands. They just wanted to escape into decimating Heaven Abyss. Why did you have to kill them?" Wang Daoyuan sneered, "Back then, when your devil race invaded on a large scale, you even killed ordinary people who couldn't cultivate. Now you're pretending to be pitiful with me? Did our human race kill your devil race in the devil world? In our human race's territory, no devil is innocent." Shui Yuan knew that in terms of bickering, he was definitely not Wang Daoyuan's match. So he stopped talking and directly attacked Wang Daoyuan fiercely, vowing to kill him. Wang Daoyuan condensed the black tortoise bright light armor, 10 sword shadows protecting his body. The devil-slaying sword condensed on the long sword, directly brandishing the 300-meter-long giant sword, resisting Shui Yuan. After comprehending sword intent, his strength already surpassed the 4 great sect masters. Adding that his physical body was strong enough, he could completely exchange a few moves with Shui Yuan. Daoist Windwing cast spells at the side, attacking Shui Yuan. After clashing a few times, Daoist Windwing came up to share the pressure. After Daoist Han Shuang exterminated the Yuanian devils, she rested for a while and wanted to come over to help again. Wang Daoyuan shouted, "Martial Ant Han Shuang, you go deal with the soul-devouring devil. That guy's physical body is weak, and he's injured. The Wind Snow Deity Palace's spells are more harmful to him. Let Daoist Ink Scales come over here, Daoist Windwing and I can also relax a little." Daoist Han Shuang nodded, and the 3 people flew over to the soul-devouring devil. Daoist Ink Scales also stopped scaring the soul-devouring devil. Carrying his dragon scale heavy sword, he came to Wang Daoyuan's side. He also had a special physique. Needless to say, Daoist Windwing also cultivated the true dragon body tempering technique, Wang Daoyuan also cultivated. The 3 people's physical body strength was not low. Although there was a huge gap with Shui Yuan, they could also exchange a few moves. Each person withstood 3 moves, so one person took over. The 3 people could all have a chance to recover. The 2 people who took over cast spells to sneak attack Shui Yuan, leaving wounds on his body. The wounds on Shui Yuan's body already numbered in the hundreds. Blood slowly seeped out of every wound, but the strength of Blood Abyss's attack still did not decrease. Daoist Imo Lin was indeed the retired emperor of the state of Qin. Ever since the state of Qin was founded, its unique characteristic was that it had a wild way of doing things. It was the same when he fought with Blood Abyss. He didn't pay attention to any martial arts at all. He just chopped down with his heavy sword. His strength was clearly far inferior to Blood Abyss, but he still felt like he was being suppressed. Shui Yuan could still contend with Wang Daoyuan and the other two, but the soul-devouring demon's side was in a miserable state. He had yet to recover from his injuries, so he was unable to bring out his full strength. Against a Tianji sect cultivator, he couldn't even gain the upper hand. Now, there were more people from the Wind Snow Deity Palace. Especially the inheritance of the Wind Snow Deity Palace, which covered a large area. It was not easy for him to dodge, so he could only use his spiritual energy to resist. The attack of an ancestral artifact was not something that could be easily blocked. Soon, his body was cut by the blade-like snowflakes, leaving bloody marks on his body. The soul-devouring demon's physical body was not much stronger than an ordinary human late-stage golden core cultivator. Being injured by the snowflakes, the cold air entering his body was not a joke. The Yuanying demons no longer needed to cover for the demons with lower cultivation to escape. There was no need to continue fighting. As long as they wanted to escape, it would be really difficult for the humans to chase them down. But once they escaped, they would no longer have a chance to win. They could only be chased to death. Once the demons had no hope of winning, they would usually fight to the death, wanting to drag a few down with them. Obviously, the demons wanted to make Wang Daoyuan their scapegoat. Daoist Lei Yan attacked with all his strength, turning into a purple sea of fire. Mo Ting was not to be outdone. He was surrounded by a blue sea of thunder. However, now that the sea of thunder was surrounded by a sea of fire, Mo Ting couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Daoist Lei Yan's purple gold whip kept lashing over, and he could only block it with difficulty. Ice Demon was even worse. Her strength was slightly weaker than Mo Ting, but the purple gold exquisite pagoda was not inferior to Daoist Lei Yan. In addition, the exquisite pagoda was a magic tool with extremely high strength. How could Ice Demon withstand this? Now that he was suppressed by the power of suppression, it was impossible for him to escape. It was only a matter of time before she was absorbed into the exquisite pagoda and refined. After half an hour, Ice Demon really couldn't take it anymore and was directly trapped in the exquisite pagoda. The exquisite pagoda was once a 7th grade magic tool. Even if its grade had fallen, its strength was still extremely high. A mere Ice Demon wouldn't be able to cause any trouble once he was locked inside. Exquisite appeared from the pagoda and shouted, "Junior Lei Yan, I'll go help Big Brother Daoyuan first. I'll leave Lightning Demon to you. Big Brother, I caught one of the mounts you wanted. Do you still want this Blood Demon?" Daoist Lei Yan was so angry that his teeth itched. She called him a junior and called his disciple Big Brother. She was dozens of generations younger than him for no reason. Wang Daoyuan was almost angered to death. She even mentioned teasing Ice Demon. Was she afraid that he wouldn't die when he returned? The exquisite pagoda's speed was extremely fast and soon arrived beside Blood Abyss. This guy was originally besieged by Wang Daoyuan and the other 2 and 3 magic tools and was about to be defeated. Now that the exquisite pagoda came to join in the fun, he couldn't resist. Blood Abyss was also a man. When he saw the exquisite pagoda flying over, he knew that it would be difficult for him to survive. He directly absorbed all the spiritual energy in his body into his yuanying. In this kind of situation, he could either give up his physical body and escape with his yuanying. Or he could self-detonate his yuanying and take the enemy away. With the nature of the demon race, the possibility of the latter was extremely high. Wang Daoyuan naturally wasn't stupid. He immediately transformed into a long sword and fled towards the west. There were a few small hills over there. Using the hills as cover, they should be able to block the power of self-detonate yuanying. Daoist Mo Lin and Daoist Feng Yi were also old foxes. They immediately used escape techniques and followed closely behind Wang Daoyuan. The 3 of them didn't dare to withstand the power of self-detonate yuanying. Exquisite didn't care at all. The purple gold exquisite pagoda released a suppressive force. All the spiritual energy in the Blood Abyss Devil's body was absorbed into his yuanying. He couldn't escape at all and was directly absorbed into the pagoda. A moment later, a muffled sound came from the pagoda. The entire exquisite pagoda trembled for a while. Exquisite's expression still didn't change. She shouted, "Big brother Beiyuan, your second mount is gone. I'll go catch a third mount for you." Seeing that Linglong was fine, Wang Daoyuan heaved a sigh of relief. As expected of a level 7 magic tool, its endurance was really strong. The next target of the exquisite pagoda was Bone Demon. This guy was in the best condition of the 5 Yuanying demons. Wang Daoyuan and the other 2 had no opponents. They all went to find trouble with the Soul Eater demon. Previously, it was one person who wanted to fight with him. Now it was 3 people. The Soul Eater demon's face was ashen, and his eyes became dim. Then, all the spiritual energy in his body was absorbed into his Yuanying. The crowd didn't disperse. Instead, they continued to besiege him. The Blood Abyss Devil's self-detonation Yuanying could scare people. That was because his body was strong. The others couldn't break through his defense in a short time. The Soul Eater demon's body was weak. He couldn't hold on for long. Daoist Master Han Shuang waved her fan and sealed his body in ice. Wang Daoyuan condensed the demon-slaying sword and slashed at the ice sculpture. The ice sculpture shattered. The Soul Eater demon's body was split in half. The Yuanying also suffered a sword strike. This Yuanying was seriously injured. Not only did it not escape, it flew towards Wang Daoyuan. The spiritual energy fluctuations on the Yuanying were not intense. It wasn't trying to self-detonate. It was trying to take over. After the Yuanying left the body, its speed was much faster than cultivators of the same level. It was just that without the support of a physical body, its endurance was relatively poor. Wang Daoyuan knew that he couldn't avoid it. He combined the 5 natal magic artifacts in his body into the 5 elements devil subduing seal, blocking the entrance to his sea of consciousness. The Scarlet Yang True Fire and Gui Water Death Flame also poured into his sea of consciousness. Outside, there were 10 sword shadows and the Black Tortoise Bright Light armor to protect him. But how could the Yuanying be so easy to deal with? The 10 sword shadows were bypassed. A hole was drilled in the Bright Light armor. The Yuanying entered Wang Daoyuan's sea of consciousness. The 5 elements devil subduing seal was directly scattered. The 5 natal magic artifacts suffered heavy damage and returned to his dantian. The spiritual fire was also suppressed by the power of law emitted by the Yuanying. It could only barely not extinguish. It couldn't cause any damage to the Yuanying. The Soul Eater demon's Yuanying revealed a smug smile and walked towards Wang Daoyuan's Sifu. Chapter 713. When the soul-devouring demon Yuanying arrived in front of Wang Daoyuan's purple mansion, he waved his small hand and a black ray of light shot towards the purple mansion. The black tortoise pattern on the purple mansion shone brightly and turned into a black tortoise phantom that protected the entire purple mansion. When the black ray of light hit the black tortoise's shell, the black tortoise phantom trembled a few times, but it still withstood the attack. The soul-devouring demon was shocked that a peak golden core cultivator's purple mansion avatar could withstand his attack. This was the most suitable battlefield for the soul-devouring demon in the sea of consciousness. Previously, his physical body had been split in half by Wang Daoyuan's sword. Yuanying had also suffered serious injuries and his strength had been affected. The soul-devouring demon Yuanying held a sword with both hands. Several streaks of black gas appeared and condensed into a 3-inch-long small sword. Before he could slash with the sword, a scarlet flame surged towards him. He used the power of laws to suppress the flame. This was also the ultimate move of a Yuanying cultivator to suppress a cultivator below the Yuanying realm. In a one-on-one situation, he could use the power of laws to suppress his opponent. If a golden core cultivator could not use the power of laws, he could not even use half of his strength. Previously, when dealing with the Yuanying demons, he had to rely on a few people to besiege them. Early-stage Yuanying cultivators could not use the power of laws to suppress multiple half-step Yuanying demons at the same time. Now, the soul-devouring demon only needed to deal with Wang Daoyuan. Naturally, it was not a problem. Under his suppression, the flame turned into a small flame and could no longer threaten him. Just as he was about to heave a sigh of relief, a murderous intent suddenly appeared and made his hair stand on end. A sword ray suddenly appeared in front of him. He used the black sword in his hand to shatter the sword ray. He was about to attack again when a green light flashed. He felt the life force in Yuanying's body rapidly depleting. He used the black fog to cover his body. The extremely strong power of laws was hidden in it. The loss of life force only disappeared. The black fog contained the power of laws. With the protection of this thing, even if he was ambushed, he would not be seriously injured. Wang Daoyuan also stopped playing tricks with him. The 5 elements divine beasts all appeared, each casting a spell to besiege the soul-devouring demons Yuanying. As expected of a Yuanying, this soul-devouring demon was indeed powerful. Wang Daoyuan, with the help of the 5 elements divine beasts, was unable to injure him. The soul-devouring demon turned into a black ghost head. This was very similar to the soul-devouring avatar's minor divine ability. Ghost Head quickly shuttled between the 5 elements divine beasts, knocking them all down. He spat out 5 balls of black chi, suppressing all of the 5 elements divine beasts. Wang Daoyuan commanded the 5 elements divine beasts with all his might, but he was still unable to break through this black gas. The soul-devouring demon let out a sigh of relief and transformed back into Yuanying. He waved the small black sword in his hand, wanting to slash at Wang Daoyuan's Sifu. Wang Daoyuan's divine soul held the origin-returning sword in his hand and prepared to fight the soul-devouring demon to the death. With the endless supply of spiritual energy, he might not necessarily lose. In order to disperse the soul-devouring demon's power, he controlled the 5 elements divine beasts to resist the soul-devouring demon suppression. Even if he could not disperse the black gas, he could still consume the soul-devouring demon's power. As Wang Daoyuan continued to pour in his divine sense, the 5 elements divine beasts' manifestations flickered with a bright yellow light. The black gas suppressing the divine beasts dissipated under the illumination of the light. The soul-devouring demon panicked. This light made him feel as if a heavenly tribulation had descended. He waved the small black sword in his hand and slashed out 5 sword beams, wanting to disperse all of the 5 elements divine beasts' manifestations. However, when the sword beams encountered the bright yellow light, they directly turned into black mist and dissipated. Wang Daoyuan was also somewhat puzzled. He did not know where this bright yellow light came from. He could only feel the strong power of heavenly tribulation within it. Under the illumination of this bright yellow light, the soul-devouring demon's law suppression was also disintegrated. The 5 elements divine beasts' manifestations dissipated under this light, turning into 5 balls of bright yellow light. Then, the 5 balls of light merged into one. A high-pitched dragon roar sounded, and a bright yellow true dragon flew out of the bright yellow light. It had 5 colored wings. It was Yinglong. Wang Daoyuan finally remembered. No wonder this bright yellow light felt so familiar. When he was going through the core formation heavenly tribulation, the 5 divine beasts fused into Yinglong. He used all his strength, but he was still seriously injured by Yinglong and fainted. He did not know what happened after that. He did not expect that Yinglong's power was hidden in his purple mansion divine beast's manifestation. The demon race was a life form from another world. When they came to this world, they were bound to be suppressed by the laws. Naturally, they were also very afraid of the power of heavenly tribulation. Under the suppression of the power of heavenly tribulation, the soul-devouring demon's law power could not be used at all. Yinglong opened his mouth and sucked fiercely. The 5 elements spiritual fire in his dantian quickly flew up and was swallowed by Yinglong. With the replenishment of spiritual energy, Yinglong's power was clearly increased. Without the power of law, the soul-devouring demon's strength was not even comparable to Wang Daoyuan's. Of course, he did not take the risk of leaving his purple mansion. After all, Yinglong was formed from his purple mansion divine beasts. He could still control it a little. Under his control, Yinglong stretched out a claw and grabbed Yuanying. The soul-devouring demon Yuanying immediately turned into a ball of black mist, trying to escape from Wang Daoyuan's spiritual sea. Yinglong flapped his wings, and a bright yellow energy wrapped around Yuanying. Yuanying had nowhere to run and was caught by Yinglong. This was the first time Wang Daoyuan came into close contact with Yuanying. He controlled Yinglong's other front claw and stretched out a finger to poke Yuanying. This nascent soul was chubby and really did look like a child. At this moment, Exquisite broke into the purple mansion. She thought that Wang Daoyuan's divine soul had been beaten black and blue by the soul-devouring demon Yuanying. She did not expect that the soul-devouring demon Yuanying would be treated like a toy. Especially his body, which was about the same size as Yuanying. The power of tribulation on Yinglong's body made him a little afraid. He did not want to carry Yinglong on his back and play with him. Trembling, she asked, "Big brother, are you all right?" Wang Daoyuan's divine soul replied, "I'm fine. I'm just curious about Yuanying and want to study it. How's the battle outside?" Exquisite replied, "The lightning demon has been roasted by Junior Lei Yan, and the bone demon has been suppressed by me." Junior Lei Yan was worried that the soul-devouring demon Yuanying would succeed in taking over your body, so he asked me to come in and help. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "You can go out first. I'm fine now." He was really afraid that if Exquisite stayed here for too long, she would discover the aura of the spirit pearl. Exquisite was also afraid of being played by Yinglong, so she left. As soon as she went outside, she began to curse. "Junior Lei Yan, what kind of disciple did you take? He treats the soul-devouring demon Yuanying like a toy. Why would he need my help? I'm scared to death." Finished speaking, she went into the purple gold Exquisite pagoda. Hearing that Wang Daoyuan was fine, everyone was relieved. The demon race's spiritual energy and the spiritual energy of the human race were not the same. Wang Daoyuan could not use this Yuanying to break through. He controlled the scarlet yang true fire in his body and wrapped the soul-devouring demon Yuanying. Soon, the soul-devouring demon let out a miserable cry. After being burned by the scarlet yang true fire, the soul-devouring demon's body emitted a dense black qi. When the black qi met the bright yellow light on Yinglong's body, it actually produced wisps of grayish-purple aura. Wang Daoyuan was very familiar with this aura. It was the same aura outside the spirit pearl space. Previously, when the spirit pearl was born, the grayish-purple liquid used to repair the spirit pearl was very similar to this aura. The spirit pearl space could continuously expand and increase the flow of time should also be related to this energy. Wang Daoyuan had examined this energy many times, but he could not see what it was, nor could he control it. Yinglong, on the other hand, opened his mouth and sucked the energy into his body with a look of enjoyment. 4 hours later, the soul-devouring demon's Yuanying was completely burned to ashes. There was also a lot of grayish-purple aura, but it all benefited Yinglong. Ever since he saw Yinglong during the core formation Heavenly Tribulation, Wang Daoyuan wanted to improve the 5 elements devil-subduing seal. After the 5 artifacts fused, they would be able to unleash Yinglong's power. Unfortunately, without the Yinglong visualization diagram, he could not comprehend Yinglong's charm just by relying on his memory. Now that Yinglong had reappeared, he naturally could not let go of this opportunity. He used his divine sense to engrave the Yinglong visualization diagram in his Zifu. In the future, he could use it to comprehend Yinglong's charm. Chapter 714. After the Soul-Eater demon's Yuanying was incinerated, the Yinglong once again transformed into the 5 elements divine beast. Wang Daoyuan carefully probed the 5 elements divine beast, and could feel the power of tribulation within. He injected spirit energy and consciousness into the 5 elements divine beast, trying to turn them into Yinglong again, but to no avail. He could not mobilize the power of tribulation within the divine beast's phantom. He did not know if his cultivation was not high enough, or if he was missing something. Fortunately, he had left behind the visualization diagram, and had already comprehended the charm of the 5 elements divine beast. It should not be difficult to comprehend the charm of Yinglong in the future. After trying to summon Yinglong to no avail, Wang Daoyuan's spirit recovered its perception of the outside world. When the Soul Eater demon entered his sea of consciousness, his perception of the outside world was affected. At this moment, he was sitting in the cave where the meeting was held, with his master and the sect masters of the 4 major sects also present. Seeing Wang Daoyuan awake, perfected Lei Yan asked, "Has the Soul Eater demon's Yuanying been taken care of?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. "When I was undergoing the Golden Core tribulation, there was some residual power of tribulation in my body. Stimulated by the Soul Eater demon's laws, the power of tribulation was stimulated, and the Soul Eater demon's Yuanying was taken care of. Unfortunately, I can't use the demon's spirit energy, as it was burned by the spirit fire. According to the rules, cultivators suspected of being possessed by the demon must be checked, so I'll have to trouble you seniors." After saying that, he summoned the 5 elements seal of subduing demon and released a suppressive force on himself. If it was a demon or a demonic cultivator, there would definitely be abnormalities under this suppressive force. However, Wang Daoyuan's expression was normal, and there were no problems with his consciousness and spirit energy fluctuations. Then, he handed the 5 elements seal of subduing demon to Perfected Lei Yan. Perfected Yun he took out the 100 beasts mirror and injected spirit energy. The divine beast patterns on the mirror seemed to come alive, emitting the charm of a divine beast. A white light shot out from the mirror and shone on Wang Daoyuan's body. Wang Daoyuan's body was normal, except for some extremely thin demonic qi. They were all contaminated by the battle with the Devil Clan, and quickly dissipated under the illumination of the 100 beasts mirror. Daoist Cloud's word smiled. "There's no problem with martial nephew Daoyuan. Withstanding Yuanying soul-devouring demon's possession and killing Yuanying with his golden core pinnacle cultivation is also not easy." Wang Daoyuan took out the Tai celestial sword and shattered the divine sense imprint he had left behind, removing the ownership. Returning the sword to Daoist Cloud's word, he said, "I borrowed Martial Uncle's Tai sword to deal with the demons. Now that the demons have been wiped out, it's time to return it to its rightful owner." Daoist Cloud's word didn't refuse. He took the Tai sword and took out a medallion made of Tai gold. "Martial nephew Daoyuan, I've already said that cultivators of the Wang clan can head to the Tai sword sect to study the Tai sword diagram at any time. This is the guest elder medallion of my Tai sword sect. In the future, cultivators of the Wang clan can use this medallion to comprehend at any time." Wang Daoyuan took the token and put it away properly. Then, everyone dispersed and began to inspect the situation of the demon-resisting mountain. The demon-resisting mountain had been occupied by the demons for many years, and there might be flaws in the formation. Therefore, they needed to send people to check, lest the demons of the decimating heaven abyss take the opportunity to come up. At this time, Ling Long came out of the pagoda and asked Wang Daoyuan, "Big brother, the 2 mounts you wanted have been suppressed by me. It's not good to keep them locked up like this. When do you want to take them away?" Previously, in Wang Daoyuan's sea of consciousness, she was frightened by Ling Long. Now, Ling Long was very respectful to Wang Daoyuan. With that said, she waved her hand and the Ling Long pagoda became transparent. Ice Demon and Bone Demon were locked up on the 8th floor of the Ling Long pagoda, which stored a large amount of lightning-attributed spiritual energy. The Ling Long pagoda was also a spatial artifact. The space on each floor wasn't small, with a radius of more than 10 miles. Naturally, it wasn't a problem to lock up 2 demons. Wang Daoyuan's face turned black. It turned out that this matter couldn't be let go. Why was this Ling Long so stubborn? "You can just refine them directly. When I said that I wanted the Yuanying demons as mounts, it was also just a joke." The purple gold Ling Long pagoda could also strengthen itself by refining the demon's spiritual energy. Ever since the demons invaded more than 70,000 years ago, the Ling Long pagoda had done this quite a bit. In this era without rank 5 spiritual energy, refining the Yuanying demons was also very valuable to the Ling Long pagoda. Hearing Wang Daoyuan's words, the place where the 2 demons were locked up ignited with purple thunder divine flames. After 7 minutes, the 2 demons were burned to ashes, and their spiritual energy was absorbed by the purple gold Ling Long pagoda. Staying here for a few days, the cultivators explored the entire demon-resisting mountain once. The decimating heaven abyss array formation near the demon-resisting mountain didn't have any problems. Everyone also left the demon-resisting mountain and returned to the demon-suppressing city. Spiritual Master Lei Yan and the sect masters of the 4 major sects were in the demon-suppressing city to reward the cultivators who participated in the battle. The resistance against the demons was led by the 4 major sections. Their disciples made contributions, so they didn't publicly reward them. Cultivators who weren't from the 4 major sects were publicly rewarded in the demon-suppressing city. The chief contributor was naturally Wang Daoyuan. Although he was spiritual master Lei Yan's disciple and a guest elder of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, he wasn't a real disciple of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. Therefore, he was also in the list of public rewards. Spiritual Master Yun Jian asked, Spiritual Master Lei Yan's disciple, Wang Daoyuan, found out the true intentions of the demons before the battle, as well as the situation in the Heavenly Devil Valley. Then, using the power of the spiritual fire, he completely solved the demonic energy in the Heavenly Devil Valley and forced the demons out. In this battle, he killed 2 demons who were half a step into Yuanying and 1 Yuanying soul-devouring demon. To make such a great contribution, he should be the chief contributor to all the cultivators. Martial Nephew Daoyuan, what request do you have? As long as the 4 major sects can satisfy you, they will definitely not be stingy. Wang Daoyuan's contribution was also second only to spiritual master Lei Yan. No one had any objections to him being the chief contributor outside of the 4 major sections. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, in reply to martial uncle Yun Jian, this disciple wants 2 things. The first is the refining method of the Tier 4 flying warship. The second is that the 4 major sects will protect the Wang clan for 500 years. Everyone was a little puzzled when they heard this. It was such a good opportunity, yet he didn't ask for more good things, but these 2 useless things. The refining of a Tier 4 flying warship was extremely difficult, and it wasn't something that ordinary forces could refine. Wang Daoyuan wanted the refining method, but it didn't have much value, so he might as well ask for a few Tier 4 flying warships. As for protecting the Wang clan for 500 years, that was even more unnecessary. Now that the Wang clan had Wang Daoyuan, this killing god, who would dare to provoke him? Moreover, with spiritual master Lei Yan around, no one would dare to touch the Wang clan. Wang Daoyuan naturally had his own plans. He wanted to head to Qixing Si Shuxian community, and anything could happen along the way. If he didn't know how to refine a flying warship, and the warship couldn't be repaired on the way, it would be troublesome. And letting the 4 major sects protect the Wang clan was for the sake of righteousness. After he left, relying on spiritual master Lei Yan's name, no one would dare to touch the Wang clan. But this was only for personal protection. Other forces would play tricks in the dark, and he couldn't let spiritual master Lei Yan run around all day. Now, he was using his contribution to exchange for the 4 major sects' promise. If anyone dared to touch the Wang clan, even if it was just a small trick, they would be the enemy of the 4 major sects, and the righteousness of the human race. As long as the Wang clan pursued the matter, the 4 major sects would have to act. With this guarantee, even Blood Shadow wouldn't dare to touch the Wang clan. Wang Daoyuan didn't hide anything. This disciple isn't even 300 years old yet, and only has 700 years of lifespan left. I want to take a risk and find an opportunity to break through the Yuanying realm. In the future, I might leave the clan frequently and travel around. Qingli County is east of Tianzhan Mountain Range, and north of Huiyan Mountain Range. After I leave, there's no one in the clan who can control the situation. Therefore, I want the 4 major sects to protect my Wang clan for 500 years. Hearing this, spiritual master Cloudsword nodded. These 2 requests aren't difficult. Since you've made these requests, we'll naturally agree. You can go to the Divine Weapon Pavilion to obtain the refining method of a Grade 4 flying warship. On behalf of the other sect masters, I'll announce that no matter what force dares to touch the Wang clan, the 4 major sects will definitely kill them. If a rogue cultivator makes a move, we'll definitely destroy his soul. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands. Thank you, martial uncle. With this guarantee, Wang Daoyuan dared to leave Beiyuan and head to Qixing Si Shuxian community with ease. Chapter 7:15. After Wang Daoyuan finished his rewards, he did not continue to stay in demon-suppressing city, but went to Sky Devil Valley to fulfill a promise. Previously, when he killed Wang Ming, he placed his soul in the space of the spirit pearl and burned it with spiritual fire. He promised to let him see the annihilation of the devil race, and then let his soul scatter. Wang Daoyuan came to Sky Devil Valley, took out the soul-capturing bottle from the space of the spirit pearl, and released Wang Ming's soul. This guy's soul was already very weak, but he still clamored, "You lowly human, were you defeated by the saint race, and now you want me to plead for you in front of the saint race?" Wang Daoyuan was angered by this guy, and motioned him to look to the south. Wang Ming's soul looked to the south, and saw a huge pit that was thousands of feet deep. In his memory, there was no such terrain in the entire southern wasteland. He carefully looked at the surrounding scenery, and confirmed that this was Sky Devil Valley. Wang Daoyuan laughed, "The devil race that you were loyal to, were all killed by us. 5 Yuanying devils that escaped from Sky Devil Valley, one was burned to death by my master, and the other 2 were kept in the exquisite pagoda for refinement. One self-destructed Yuanying, and the other had his body cut open by my sword, and wanted to possess me, so he was burned to death. The devils below Yuanying were all frozen into ice sculptures by the snow god palace, and all died. Sky Devil Valley was also burned to such a state by us, and all the devil chi is gone. How about it, the devil race has been annihilated, you should also follow them." Wang Ming still did not wake up. "You only annihilated the saint race here, there are more in absolute heaven abyss, you can't kill them all. Sooner or later, they will kill their way into Qian Yuan world, and annihilate the human race. When that time comes, they will definitely revive me." Some devil cultivators were dogs because they had no backbone, and whoever had milk was their mother. Like this, who clearly had a backbone, but still wanted to be a dog, what a weirdo. There was nothing much to say to this kind of unrepentant thing, and used the Gui water death flame to completely burn his soul. After dealing with Wang Ming's soul, Wang Daoyuan returned to demon-suppressing city. At this time, the bestowment had already been completed. The cultivators who died in battle also received their own rewards, which were given by the disciples of the 4 great sects to their descendants or disciples. The forces they belonged to had also been protected by the 4 major sects for hundreds of years. After the rewards were bestowed, Divine Weapon Pavilion and Tai Sword sect left behind a few Jindan stage cultivators to guard demon-suppressing city, in case something went wrong with the absolute heaven abyss's formation. The others left and returned to the treasured Cauldron Mountain. The situation of the battle between the humans and the demons had been passed on to the treasured Cauldron Mountain, and then to the various human forces through the cultivators of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. The news of the Sky Devil Valley being wiped out and the demon clan being completely eradicated had already spread throughout Beiyuan Shuxian. In the southern wasteland, Blood Devil and Devil Cultivator clans were also decorated with lanterns and colored banners. 1,000 miles south of the Cauldron Mountain, more than 100 gold core cultivators came to welcome the triumphant return of the human cultivators. When these people heard that the demons had been completely exterminated, they rushed from all over the cultivation world to the treasured Cauldron Mountain to celebrate. Seeing the return of the flying warship, the cultivators who came to greet them bowed. "Welcome back, hero of the human race." Wang Daoyin was also among this group. He had already formed his core successfully. The group returned to the treasured Cauldron Mountain together, and the mountain was also brimming with a joyous atmosphere. Wang Daoyuan transmitted his voice to Wang Daoyin and asked, "Brother, you have a minor divine ability tribulation, and you need me or master to protect you when forming your core. Why did you form your core secretly?" Wang Daoyin also replied with a voice transmission, "Previously, I heard that there were 5 Yuanying on the demon side, and we humans were not at an advantage, so I formed my core as soon as possible. My minor divine ability is the same as master's, so I can more or less help him a little. Besides, didn't I succeed? No matter how the process was, the result was still good. Now that the treasured cauldron's direct line finally had a golden core cultivator, they could be considered to have a successor. Everyone returned to the treasured Cauldron Mountain. At this time, the valley of the treasured Cauldron Mountain was already filled with banquets. The things that could be on the table were at least rank 3 or 4 spiritual items. These spiritual items were all sent by those small gold core factions that did not have cultivators participating in the battle. They did not have the ability to fight for the human race, so they naturally had to contribute. After the demon chaos was quelled, the human race avoided the crisis of extinction. The gold core cultivators also lost their usual dignity, and like some rogue cultivators, they celebrated to their heart's content. A few of the participating cultivators stepped on the table and played finger-guessing games, and no one felt that there was anything wrong with it. The banquet lasted for 3 days, after which Daoist Thunderflame lectured everyone again. To a cultivator, this was the best reward. The lecturing lasted for a month before the cultivators left the treasured Cauldron Mountain one by one. Wang Daoyuan and Wang Daoyin were in charge of sending off the gold core cultivators of the various factions. Then, the two returned to Daoist Thunderflame's cave residence. Daoist Thunderflame took out a thick beast skin book. This is the refining method of a rank 4 flying warship, and it also contains the insights of our treasured cauldron lineage's ancestors. Previously, the Divine Weapon Pavilion's rules forbade us from revealing the refining method, but now I'll give it to you. Your artifact array and artifact array have both reached low rank 4, refining this shouldn't be a problem. Wang Daoyuan took the beast skin book and cupped his hands. Thank you, master, but I still have a request. Daoist Thunderflame smiled. Just say it, as long as I can do it, I won't refuse. Wang Daoyuan took out a fist-sized spirit gathering pearl, as well as its refining method. This spirit gathering pearl was obtained when I was traveling outside during my foundation building cultivation. This thing can absorb spirit chi and convert it into spirit chi to store it. When I went out to sea, I didn't know how many years it would take, and no matter how many high-rank spirit stones I brought, it might not be enough. I would like to ask Master to help me refine this spirit gathering pearl, so that its spirit chi can match that of a high-rank spirit stone. This spirit gathering pearl was already a mid-rank rank 3 magic item, and the spirit chi it stored was comparable to 20 mid-rank spirit stones. This was also the result of Tu Yuming's clone refining it for many years in the space of the spirit gathering pearl. However, the purity of the spirit chi was far from that of a high-rank spirit stone, and it wasn't enough to power a rank 4 flying warship. Daoist Thunderflame took the spirit gathering pearl and inspected it carefully, then praised. The person who created this spirit gathering pearl might not have high refining skills, but he is still a genius. I know about the spirit gathering tool rune, but its effect is too small, and its conversion speed is too slow. This person actually thought of using a layered method to increase the surface area of the tool rune, and inscribe more spirit gathering tool runes to achieve a stronger effect. In the path of refining, he can be considered to be unique. It's a pity that this spirit gathering pearl is too complicated, and it's not suitable for mass production. Otherwise, it can completely replace spirit stones. It's not difficult to refine this thing. Give me 2 months, and I should be able to upgrade it to low rank 4. At that time, the spirit chi contained in this spirit gathering pearl should be at the level of 2 to 3 supreme grade spirit stones. With Master's guarantee, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. It was comparable to a high-rank spirit stone, and it was enough for Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan stayed in the treasured Cauldron Mountain for the time being, and researched the refining method of the rank 4 flying ship. A month later, Daoist Thunderflame shouted, Daoyuan, come in, I've already improved the refining method. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly entered the cave, and Daoist Lei Yen passed a beast skin book to him. Although it is troublesome to refine this spirit gathering pearl, the tool pattern combination is too simple, and it won't take much effort to improve it. I've improved the tool rune combination, and the absorption and conversion speed of spirit chi has increased. Now, the spirit chi stored in this spirit gathering pearl is equivalent to 2 spirit stones. It's just that it's a little slow to store spirit chi, and it will take more than a month to fill it up near a high rank 4 spiritual vein. In terms of time, Wang Daoyuan didn't care at all. Inside the space of the spirit pearl, more than a month's time was only about a day outside. Wang Daoyuan spent more than a month's time to refine the 4th-tier low-grade spirit-gathering pearl. Daoist Thunderflame was worthy of being the #1 blacksmith in Beiyuan. His refining skills were indeed high, and the improved spirit-gathering pearl didn't have any flaws. He used this spirit-gathering pearl on some large-scale magic tools, and the output of spirit chi was very stable. With this item, he could refine a rank 4 flying ship and head to the Qixing Sea Shuxian community. Chapter 7:16. After solving the problem of the spirit-gathering pearl, Wang Daoyuan did not continue to stay at the treasured Cauldron Mountain. After playing with the demons in the southern wasteland for a few years, it was time for him to go back and take a look. He took out some level 4 upper-grade hidden cloud tea and gave it to Lei Yanjinren. "Master, I have to go back. I will come and bid you farewell when I go out to sea in the future." Lei Yanjinren took out a 1-foot-long ship-shaped magic weapon. "I made this with your martial uncle a few hundred years ago when I first started refining level 4 flying warships. This flying warship is different from other flying warships in that it does not have a sealed core. When you are refining the flying warship, you can take it apart and refine it accordingly. Don't be in a hurry to leave. After all, you are only 260 years old and still have more than 700 years of lifespan. There are many demons in the sea and it is hard to find a place to rest. Prepare well before you leave." Wang Daoyuan took over the flying warship and cupped his hands. "Thank you, Master. I will remember your teachings." Lei Yanjinren took out a jade talisman. This jade talisman can be directly connected to the communication array of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. As long as there is a Divine Weapon Pavilion shop within 50,000 miles, they can send me a message at any time. I will leave this to Mingchen. When you are not in Beiyuan and the Wang family has difficulties, you can contact me at any time. Wang Daoyuan took the jade talisman and left his master's cave residence. He left some hidden cloud tea and jade marrow vitality enhancing pills for Wang Daoyin. He also prepared some level 4 upper-grade hidden cloud tea for Immortal Yunhe, Yu Buqing, and the rest. Wang Mingting, He Yuanqing, and the rest also gave him gifts. These people had a good relationship with him. If his family was in trouble, they would be able to help. After that, he left the treasured Cauldron Mountain and flew north. He did not avoid anyone's property and went straight through the Song country's border. With his battle record of killing the blood demon of the half-step Yuanying barehanded in the southern wasteland, no one dared to go against him. After 10 days, he returned to the Jade Spring Mountain. The leaders of the various forces of Qingli County came to the Jade Spring Mountain to pay their respects. Wang Mingchen, who was wearing a crown, led everyone to salute Wang Daoyuan. Son greets Imperial Father and welcomes Imperial Father's triumphant return. The others also bowed and said, "Welcome back, Your Majesty." With a wave of his hand, Wang Daoyuan dismissed the crowd and brought Wang Mingchen back to his cave residence. Wang Mingchen was already in his 20s and was at the second level of the Foundation Establishment realm. He was about 9 feet tall, half a head taller than Wang Daoyuan. Because of his special physique, his body was very strong. Her face shape was very similar to Wang Daoyuan's, but her facial features resembled Zhou Wan's. Compared to her body, her looks were too delicate. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "Your cultivation is improving quite fast, but you still have to pay attention to your foundation." For example, Wang Dezhao, who had a solid foundation and an 8.5-inch spirit root, was able to awaken the fire phenomenon. Now that the family doesn't have any major problems, you have plenty of time to accumulate. Don't waste such a good talent just because you are greedy for cultivation speed. You have liked to play with fire since you were young, so you can put more effort into refining pills and refining weapons. Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and said, "I've learned my lesson. Now, my alchemy and refining skills are at the second level, inferior grade." Wang Daoyuan was very satisfied. Not bad. Many of the 100 arts of immortal cultivation are related to the comprehension of laws. You have a heavenly spirit root, so you don't have to worry about your cultivation speed. You can work on refining pills and refining weapons. In a few years, I will go out to find an opportunity to break through to the Yuanying realm. Before I leave, I will pass the throne to you. When you are not cultivating, follow your 12th uncle and Mingshan to learn how to handle government affairs. This foundation was built by me. I will still be the boss and will not go back on my word. You don't have my prestige, so you have to rely on your own diligence to convince the family. Wang Mingshan cupped his hands and acknowledged. Wang Daoyuan gave him some more instructions before he went to the family affairs hall to learn how to handle the family affairs. Wang Daoyuan returned to the underground cavern near the earth fire room. Once he entered the cavern, Zhou Wan, who was wearing a princess coronet, bowed and saluted. I respectfully welcome the king's triumphant return. Wang Daoyuan was astonished. I say, Hall Master, something is wrong with you. After saluting, Zhou Wan said, no matter what, you went to fight against the demons and returned triumphantly. Qingli County is still a country. You are also the ruler of a country, so you should have some etiquette. Right, why didn't you bring your sister back? Wang Daoyuan was stunned. What sister? I only have one brother. Zhou Wan glared at him. You still want to deny what happened in the southern wasteland? The purple gold jewel pagoda didn't kill the ice demon, it only suppressed him. What, you want the ice demon to be the big one and me to be the small one? Hall Master, I teased the ice demon to force the demons to fight. After the ice demon was suppressed by the jewel pagoda, he was already refined by the purple thunder divine flame. What sister or sister, there is no such thing. Zhou Wan finally smiled. That's more like it. At least you have some conscience. I didn't worry about you in vain. I heard you were hit by the demon's bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade. How are your injuries? Seeing that her complexion had improved, Wang Daoyuan knew this matter was over. He took her into his arms. My injuries are very serious. Let's go inside and slowly check on your injuries. After staying in the underground cavern with Zhou Wan for more than 2 months, Wang Daoyuan waited for Zhou Wan's cultivation to break through to the peak of the Jindan stage before he began to refine the flying warship. The clan didn't lack the materials to refine the flying warship. The Silver Light mysterious iron mine to the south of Fallen Dragon Ridge didn't have a spirit vein before and couldn't set up a permanent defensive formation. Later, he gave the formation to guide the spirit vein to his uncle Wang Shouzhe. It was enough to guide the rank 2 spirit vein to set up a rank 3 formation. Although the spirit guiding formation was very complicated, with his uncle's attainments in formations, he could still set it up. The Silver Light mysterious iron mine had been developed for more than 10 years. This matter had always been managed by the clan. There were more wars in these years, so Wang Daoyuan didn't divert his attention to this matter. The entire Silver Light mysterious iron mine could produce more than 10,000 kilograms of high-grade grade 3 Silver Light mysterious iron every year. Occasionally, some low-grade grade 4 Silver Light mysterious iron would be produced, but the amount produced was uncertain. At most, it could produce more than 1,000 kilograms a year. At least, it could produce more than 100 kilograms a year. However, the clan still accumulated a lot of low-grade grade 4 Silver Light mysterious iron. It wasn't difficult to refine 3 or 4 low-grade grade 4 flying warships. There was no difference between a rank 4 flying warship and a rank 3 flying warship in terms of formations. It was the application of laws. After all, a rank 4 flying warship had to clash head-on with a Jindan stage cultivator, and a Jindan stage cultivator could already imitate the power of laws. Cultivators with minor abilities could even use the power of laws to a certain extent. If it was still refined like a rank 3 flying warship, the flying warship wouldn't be able to use the power of laws. Without the power of laws, 10% of spirit energy would at most be able to produce 10% of the power. If there was the power of laws, 10% of spirit energy would be able to produce 20 or even 30% of the power. How could 10% of the power go against 20% of the power? It wasn't just in terms of attack and defense, but also in terms of speed. A rank 4 flying warship would need at least 2 hours to fly 9,000 kilometers. The faster the warship flew, the greater the resistance. If one didn't use the power of laws, it would be extremely difficult to fly so fast. Even if the speed was achieved, the consumption of spirit energy was also very large. In order to be able to use the power of laws, the rank 4 flying warship added a Dharma artifact to the system that provided spirit energy. This Dharma artifact was extremely complicated. It was mixed with runes, formation runes, and artifact runes. There were even some elixir runes. Its function was to convert spirit energy. After the spirit energy in a high-grade spirit stone was converted by this Dharma artifact, it would carry some power of laws. This Dharma artifact was extremely complicated. It would take a long time to understand it thoroughly. The refining method was passed down from ancient times. According to the experiences of the ancestors, they also didn't completely understand this special Dharma artifact. Their experiences could be summed up in one sentence: it didn't matter why, as long as it could be used. Chapter 717. Other than the spiritual energy conversion device, the Grade 4 flying warship was similar to a Grade 3 flying warship in other aspects. The only difference was that the materials, tool patterns, and formation patterns were changed to Grade 4 ones. With Wang Daoyuan's attainments in tools and formations, refining these parts was naturally not a problem. About 80% of the refining method of the Grade 4 flying warship given by Lei Yen Junren was talking about this spiritual energy conversion device. This thing was the core that provided spiritual energy. The top was connected to the place where the spirit stones were placed, and the bottom was connected to the core of the warship and the offensive and defensive magic tools. The entire device was like a 3-foot square box, made up of dozens of small parts. Its complexity was not much worse than the core of the warship that was inscribed with the propulsion and Fukong formations. How to draw the patterns on it was clearly written in the experiences of the ancestors. Wang Daoyuan was too lazy to care about the meaning of these patterns. He directly dismantled the flying warship that his master gave him and copied it. His spiritual sense and control of spiritual energy had already reached the limit of yuanying. However, it took him a full 3 years to create the first spiritual energy conversion device. The main reason was that he was unfamiliar with it, and the patterns on the device were too strange. If other people knew that he only took 3 years to refine this thing, it would definitely cause a commotion. The patterns on the device were similar to the 4 patterns of pill, tool, and talisman arrays. When a normal cultivator refined it, 4 cultivators who were proficient in pill, tool, and talisman arrays would work together. Some of the patterns were more similar to pill, tool, and talisman arrays, and would be inscribed by the cultivator who was proficient in this path. Finally, these patterns would all be connected. Because different cultivators were working together, it was very easy to have uncoordinated situations. If this was the case, the refining of the entire device would fail. Under normal circumstances, the successful refining of a device would be enough for 4 cultivators who were proficient in pill, tool, and talisman arrays to work for 5 to 6 years. This was also the main reason why there were so few Grade 4 flying warships in Beiyuan Shoshin. Wang Daoyuan was proficient in all 4 paths of pill, tool, and talisman arrays. From the beginning to the end, he refined it by himself, so there would not be any uncoordinated situations. After that, he spent another year to refine the other parts of the flying warship. The offensive and defensive magical artifacts were purchased from the Divine Weapon Pavilion. After assembling the flying warship, he called a few foundation building clansmen to test it out. His flying speed was not a problem at all, reaching a speed of 9,000 miles per hour. Wang Daoyuan even had his clansmen control the flying warships to attack him. A 4th-grade low-grade demon hunting crossbow on the bow of the ship shot out a silver ray of light. Wang Daoyuan had to use 20% of his strength to dissolve it. This power was enough to kill an ordinary early golden core cultivator. However, Wang Daoyuan was not satisfied with this. Previously, his attainments in the Tao of weapon refinement and array formation were already close to the middle of the 4th tier. After refining this flying warship, he should be able to try refining a mid-grade tier for flying warship. An ordinary mid-grade tier for flying warship could reach a speed of 10,000 li in 2 hours. He did not lack mid-grade tier for materials. The tier for materials that his master had given him when he had just formed his gold core had not been used up yet. There were also tier for materials that the county king's mansion had purchased from Linhai Prefecture and Shanbei Prefecture. It would not be a problem to refine 1 or 2 flying warships if he picked out the non-elemental materials. The second flying warship would be Wang Daoyuan's main vehicle when he went out to sea. The spiritual power conversion device and the core of the flying warship were all made of high-grade tier for materials. Tool inscriptions were also refined. This way, there would be fewer problems at sea. As for the outer shell, it was made of mid-grade tier for materials. With the experience of refining, the second flying warship only took a total of 2 years. Wang Daoyuan tested it. Its speed and offensive and defensive capabilities met the requirements. He planned to take away the 2 newly refined flying warships. If one of them were to break down seriously, there would be a backup. The flying warship that Lei Yan Jinren had given him would be left in the clan as a reference for his clansmen to refine. Zhao Liang was only 270 years old. His uncle Wang Shouzhe was even younger. He still had more than 200 years of life. It would not be a problem for them to become tier for blacksmiths and formation masters. In the future, they would definitely refine flying warships. After refining the flying warships, he still had to solve the problem of the spiritual gathering pearls. A tier for flying warship could store 10 high-grade spirit stones at the same time. If it was just a simple flight, it would consume 20 high-grade spirit stones a day to activate the wind-blocking formation. That was the spiritual power of 10 spiritual gathering pearls. If the spiritual gathering pearls were to be placed near a high-grade tier for spirit vein, it would take 40 days to refill them. The flow of time in the space of the spiritual gathering pearls was 50 times faster than the outside world. In less than a day, the spiritual gathering pearls would be able to replenish their spiritual power. Taking into account the replacement, he needed to prepare 20 spiritual gathering pearls. If the formation was fully activated and it continuously attacked and defended, in addition to the constant speed change, it would consume more than 20 high-grade spirit stones in 2 hours. To be safe, he had to refine more spiritual gathering pearls. He did not need to do this himself. The 5 demonic cultivators and 1 demon that he had taken down during the battle with the demons were not incompetent. Golden Core cultivators more or less knew how to refine weapons. Among the 6 doppelgangers, Fang Hu and Yao Long were the worst, but they were still tier 3 middle grade. It was not a problem for them to help. Liao Yang, Wan Chang, and the demon Shui Yan had all reached tier 4. Shui Yan's level was the highest, and he could refine tier 4 middle grade magic weapons. Although it was a demon magic weapon, it was the same as a human magic weapon. With the foundation, it was not a problem to refine the spiritual gathering pearls. Chen Jiaoyi was from a demonic cultivator family. Families in the southern wasteland paid attention to formations. His formation skills were not low, tier 4 middle grade. After going out to sea, if the flying warship broke down, it could be solved by the doppelgangers. Wang Daoyuan did not need to worry about refining small things like the spiritual gathering pearls. He was more concerned about the life-bound magic weapon now. Before leaving, he had to improve his strength as much as possible. His strongest move now was sword intent, but it needed to be improved slowly. The Gue Yuan sword intent was like a tree. Wang Daoyuan's Gue Yuan sword intent used the White Tiger sword intent as the root, the Killing sword intent as the trunk, and the Majestic sword intent as the largest branch. The other sword intents were the small branches on this tree. He had just fused the Killing sword intent, and this tree was only a small sapling. The right path was to take first. If he fused other sword intents now, it would be easy to lose focus and go astray. It was not advisable to fuse other sword intents in the short term. Since the sword intent had changed, the White Tiger blade naturally had to change as well. Now, Wang Daoyuan's strength with the White Tiger blade was not inferior to the 5 elements demon suppression seal. The magic weapon he usually used the most was also the White Tiger blade. The existence of the demon suppression seal seemed a little useless. Other than suppression, it had almost no other use. Since he had a breakthrough in the path of sword cultivation, he should focus on the sword. After fusing the 5 life-bound magic weapons, it would be best if it was a sword. The fusion of the 5 elements demon suppression seal was not thorough enough. The 5 elements divine beasts could fuse into Yinglong. It would be best if the modified sword contained Yinglong's power. Wang Daoyuan had already thought of a name. It would be Yinglong Demon Slaying Sword. Previously, he had also engraved Yinglong's visualization image. Comprehending Yinglong's charm was not a big problem. He did not have the experience of modifying a life-bound magic weapon, so he used the white tiger blade to practice. He had the refining method of the Tai sword in his hands. It could be used as a reference to modify the white tiger blade so that it could be compatible with the Gui Yuan sword intent. Because the white tiger blade was a combined magic weapon, not only did he have to consider its own problems, but he also had to consider the combination with the other 4 magic weapons. The difficulty of modifying it was not small. Every time he modified it, he had to first refine an ordinary magic weapon. After testing its power, if it passed, he had to test whether it could be fused with the other 4 life-bound magic weapons. If it could not be fused, he had to continue modifying it. After spending 5 years, he modified it more than 30 times. The modified white tiger blade was finally compatible with the Gui Yuan sword intent and did not affect the fusion of the 5 magic weapons. Chapter 718. After modifying the white tiger blade, Wang Daoyuan did not continue modifying the other 4 natal magic tools. The white tiger blade alone had taken him 5 years. If he wanted to transform the 5 elements devil subduing seal into a sword, he would have to make major changes to every single artifact. Fusing the tool pattern required a huge change as well. In order to complete the entire improvement, it would take at least 30 to 40 years. Wang Daoyuan did not want to waste too much energy. The current power of the white tiger blade was enough to deal with all opponents below the Yuanying level. As long as he did not encounter Yuanying, he would not be defeated. There was a huge gap between the combat power of a nascent soul stage cultivator and a half-step nascent soul stage cultivator. Even if he modified the dragon-slaying devil sword, he was still no match for a nascent soul stage cultivator. At most, he would be able to exchange a few blows with Yuanying cultivators. Before he broke through Yuanying, there was no point in modifying these things. It was better to go to the Qixing Si Shuxin community first. There were soul formation cultivators there, and the inheritances there should be more advanced. Stones from other mountains can be used to polish jade. After he broke through the Yuanying stage, his understanding of refining would definitely reach a higher level. Only by absorbing some of the inheritance of the Sea of 7 Stars would the modified natal Dharma artifact be even stronger. Now, it was time to deal with other matters. There were still many spirit plants in the space of the spirit pearl that needed to be dealt with. Back then, the 7-leaf ghost face flower had already withered, and Wang Daoyuan had harvested 7 seeds. 1,000 years had passed in the space of the spirit orb, and the second generation of 7 ghost-faced flowers had bloomed. The first batch of stellar fruits had finally ripened. The 2 stellar fruit trees were both 4th-level low-grade stellar fruits, and they had produced a total of 28 fruits. A jar of 100 fruit wine only required 1 star fruit. The 28 jars of wine were all hidden under the spirit pearl space. This thing would only taste good after 100 years. No one in the family was in a hurry to break through Yuanying, and the 100 fruit wine was not a necessity. The jade needle white jade pine tree that he had obtained from the auction back then had already grown to over 3 feet tall, but there were still no signs of it bearing fruit. When he first obtained it, it was only 1,000 years old. Now, less than 3,000 years had passed in the space of the spirit pearl. There were still more than 1,000 years to go before the 5,000-year harvest. On the other hand, the true essence fruit trees had already borne true essence fruits with cores. Wang Daoyuan had also used these cores to cultivate 9 new true essence fruit trees. They had also begun to bear fruit. Under normal circumstances, the true essence fruit tree would wither after it bore a true essence fruit with a core. However, not only did this true essence fruit tree not wither, it had even advanced. Now, the true essence fruit tree had already broken through the limit and became a tier 3 middle grade spirit plant. After that, there were no more results. There was an 80% chance that a mutation had occurred. However, no matter how mutated this thing was, it was useless to Wang Daoyuan. He had no use for the 9 new true essence fruit trees, so he decided to transplant them elsewhere. The Jade Spring Peak and the Blue Cloud Peak each had 1 stalk. As for the remaining 7 stalks, 1 stalk was left in the space of the spiritual pearl. The Green Willow Secret Realm and the 5 Elements Secret Realm each had 3 stalks. After all, refining foundation establishment pills by killing demonic beasts was not very stable, so he still needed to have a stable method. He didn't need to do these things himself, he could just leave it to the spirit plant farmers in the clan. Next, he had to deal with the matter of the large willow tree in Green Willow Province. Not long after he had taken over the Green Willow Mystery Realm from the Zhao family, he had separated a pseudo-spirit fire of the life spirit fire. He wanted to merge it into the large willow tree and let it advance. This large willow tree and the Green Willow Mystery Realm were bound together for good or ill. If he could advance, the Green Willow Mystery Realm would also receive great benefits. That pseudo-spirit fire had been nurtured by the peach tree sapling, and was now a 4th level low-grade spirit fire. Wang Daoyuan left Jade Spring Peak and came to the entrance of the Green Willow Province's secret realm. This was the roots of the large willow tree. This willow tree's species was hollow willow. Wang Daoyuan had seen some records that mentioned a 7th level hollow willow. It was hard to say if it was a divine wood. This hollow willow had been burdened by the secret realm, and had not advanced for an unknown number of years. To be able to use a hollow willow to build a secret realm, this method was definitely from the ancient times. In the ancient times, this was the territory of the Valley of Beasts, so it was most likely the work of the Valley of Beasts. In that case, this hollow willow had to be at least 50,000 years old. Since it was a hollow willow, its interior must be hollow. It was best to place the life spiritual fire inside. However, this hollow willow was related to the secret realm, and there was a very complicated array formation inside. Wang Daoyuan did not dare to act rashly. He could only place the life spiritual fire near the roots, and the hollow willow could more or less absorb some life force. He took out the 4th level low-grade life spiritual fire and placed it on a large root of the hollow willow. The life force emitted by the life spiritual fire was quickly absorbed. Nourished by the life force, the hollow willow's aura began to slowly rise. On this root, a few small roots also quickly grew, wrapping the entire life spiritual fire. The life force could no longer escape, and was all absorbed by the hollow willow. Wang Daoyuan entered the secret realm to investigate. Everything was normal in the secret realm, and it was not affected by the life spiritual fire. He was also relieved, and began to refine gold-forming pills in the pill refining room. In the past few years, he had purchased some from Linhai province, and now he had 10 monster beast golden cores in his hands. These things were useless in his hands, so it was better to refine them into gold-forming pills and keep them in the clan. He spent a year refining 10 cauldrons of gold-forming pills. A total of 25 gold-forming pills were refined, and the success rate was about 50%. 5th great-uncle was also cultivating in the secret realm. After Wang Daoyuan finished refining the gold-forming pills, he went to his cave. He took out 20 gold-forming pills and gave them to him. 5th great-uncle, these are the gold-forming pills I refined. I'm going to travel, and these things are useless to me, so I'll leave them in your care. When someone in the clan wants to form their gold core, you can give them a gold-forming pill. There are too few golden core cultivators in the clan now, so if someone wants to form their gold core, he can owe you contribution points first. 5th great-uncle nodded. Since you're giving me such precious things without worry, I'll certainly handle them impartially. In the past year, there were no changes in the Green Willow's secret realm. The life spiritual fire did not cause any negative effects to the Hollow Willow, so Wang Daoyuan was relieved. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly felt that the spiritual aura in the Green Willow's secret realm had increased a bit. Moreover, this increase was still ongoing. Fifth great-uncle was also a golden core cultivator, so he could naturally feel the subtle changes in the spiritual aura. The two of them quickly walked out of the secret realm and went outside to check the situation. Sure enough, the Hollow Willow had finally advanced. In the past, it had always been an unranked spiritual plant, but now it had advanced to a first-rank low-grade spiritual plant. Although it was only a small breakthrough, it still had some positive effects on the Green Willow's secret realm. Fifth great-uncle said with a smile, "Your life spiritual fire is really amazing. This Hollow Willow has been an unranked spiritual plant for who knows how many years. I didn't expect it to advance in your hands. In the future, the Green Willow's secret realm will also receive great benefits." A clan naturally had to consider the long term. As long as this Hollow Willow could continue to grow, it wouldn't be a problem for it to grow to the 4th rank. The Green Willow's secret realm and the Hollow Willow were intertwined. The higher the rank of the Hollow Willow's secret realm, the greater the growth space of the Green Willow's secret realm, and the more benefits the clan would receive. When he arrived on the ground, he looked at the Hollow Willow. There weren't any changes on the surface of the willow. There were only obvious fluctuations of spiritual power, which was a characteristic that only ranked spiritual plants would have. When he examined it with his divine sense, there was a special charm to it. He broke off a willow branch and stored it in the space of his spiritual pearl. Although he didn't know if this hollow willow branch could be used to grow, he could still give it a try. Soon after, he left the Green Willow province and returned to Jade Spring Peak. When he arrived at the executive hall, Wang Mingshan and head elder Wang Dezhao were handling clan affairs. Wang Mingshan was also learning from them. Seeing Wang Daoyuan enter, the three of them bowed one after another. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so courteous. I want to abdicate the throne to Mingshan. You guys make some preparations." Saying so, he patted Wang Mingshan's shoulder. "In the future, the burden of the clear glass commandery will be shouldered by you." Wang Mingshan also had a solemn expression on his face. "Don't worry, father. I definitely won't let you down." You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.